Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox and Mikey McNuggets. I'm Adam the Bull. We got Anthony and Steve behind the glass, and a lot to get to today. Myles Garrett missing minicamp, always a controversial subject. We had to listen to Mikey McNuggets and Jason Lloyd on the Ultimate Cavs show, be Ultimate Cavs apologist this morning. I don't know that. I only watched like a minute. I don't actually know that you were apologists. No offense.
We are going to do one of the topics today that we did this morning as well. So
where does the AFC North rank? The Guardians lose again. How you guys doing? What's going on?
I'm doing well. Have not been with you guys since last week.
Yeah.
So been battling a little bit of a cold. I got this like little cough, like the dry cough. You ever remember that when we were in training camp?
Yes.
Like way back
in the day.
2012.
That's allergies.
It's like allergy season.
Yeah.
It's like this, and I've been pretty healthy the last year. It's the first time I've kind of had a little bit of a cold, but I apologize for my voice doesn't quite sound as.
We used to get when we were on the radio, you'd get that one guy who would complain about your coughing all the time.
Well,
why is Dustin coughing? Doesn't he have a cough button?
I do, but your mic was.
My mic's on, so you're still hearing the coughing. Mike, what's going on with you?
Doing good. I slept great last night after
a
fun Memorial Day weekend, so needed to get back into the flow and get back in the swing.
I'll say this. So I had a great come-from-behind victory in tennis last night, USTA match.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny. I played with this guy last night who's 71 years old. My partner was 71 years old.
Jeez.
And he moves well. We won.
Good for him.
We were down. We came back. We won in straight sets.
Did they have a 71-year-old on their team?
No, they were rated higher than we were.
Do you have to be a certain age or no?
Our league's 40 and over.
Okay, so then it's just based on your ranking.
Yeah, your rating. Yeah.
So you guys were losing.
We were losing in the first set. They were serving 5-2.
Yeah.
They win that game. They win the set. We come back. We win 7-5 that set. Won 5 straight games.
Damn.
And then won the second set 6-2. So we were happy about that win. But I bring that up because that's my achievement. But your son had an amazing achievement yesterday, which I wanted to ask you about and let you have the floor.
Yeah, this was unbelievable. It was such an exciting moment, and I really I got like tears in my eyes. It's probably a little silly.
You were so excited.
I was so excited. Aaron, when he first started playing baseball, it couldn't hit a lick. Like his first year in Little League, third grade, he couldn't hit it all. He was striking out almost every time. And then fourth grade, he improved a little bit. Last year, he made a decent jump. But going into this year, when he was doing his hitting practice going into the season, I was like, I think he's primed to make a big jump this year, like be one of the better players in the league. But I wasn't sure until the season started. Mm-hmm. And then we played 3 scrimmages, and he got one nice hit, but he wasn't, overall he didn't play great in the scrimmages. And so I was like, well, I don't know, maybe it's not going to happen. And then the first game of the season, he went 3 for 3, and he's been hitting like crazy ever since. And I said to my wife about a week or so ago, I said, I think he's going to hit a home run this year. Because he's he's probably like the 4th or 5th biggest kid in the league. And when you're big at that age, if you get into one, it can go. Oh, yeah. But so far, going into last night, if you've been to the Rocky River Little League field, which probably most of you have not. If you live in Rocky River, you've probably been there. You've been there. Yep. To hit a home run over the fence is a decent shot. I mean, it's not.
It's got to be.
It's not deep, but it's not shallow.
It's got to be 2 to 225 in center field, something like that. Yeah, 200 feet. Give or take.
I have the dimension somewhere. It's at least 225 to say. Yeah, something like that. So there had only been 2 home runs in the entire league this season going into last night, and we start the game. We had a bad top of the first. The other team scored 5 runs in the top of the first, and we come up in the bottom of the first. Our leadoff hitter gets on. He singles, and then he gets caught stealing. So I'm like, this is a pretty rough start. Aaron comes up. He gets a 3-2 count, right? a fastball comes his way, and you hear that sound when you know the ball is hit well.
Perfect ping.
And I'm coaching first base. I coach first base.
Could have your eyes closed probably and knew it was
yes. He hit it, and I turned. The second he hit it, I said, holy shit, I think he hit a home run. And the ball went sailing over the left center field fence by a lot. Like, if that left center field fence is 210, 215, he probably cleared it by 20 feet. So he might have hit it 230. I don't know. He didn't know what the heck. It was like he didn't know what to do. It was his first home run. So he's running down the first base line, jumping up and down like, oh my God, I hit a home run.
Of course.
And then instead of hitting first base and turning towards second, he runs through first base like he got a single and he's just running out. And then he turns and goes to second, but he had never hit first base. So I said, Aaron, come back. You got to hit first base. The umpire after the inning said to me, I'm friendly with the umpire. He goes, hey, I wasn't going to call him out even if he missed first base. He hit a home run over the fence. But I didn't want to take a chance. So he comes back, touches first base, and he's like jumping up and down, and he's running around the bases. And he crosses home, and as he starts going towards first base, all his teammates come running out of the dugout. They're spilling water on him. They're throwing sunflower seeds on him, and they're jumping up and down with him. It was an amazing moment. I woke up. I couldn't even sleep last night. I was so excited about it. And he was so excited.
When your kids start having these moments. And I see it with my daughter in tennis now, my son in football a little bit now when he starts doing stuff. I'm so much more proud of their achievements than anything I could possibly do or have done in my career.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, I'm proud of my son all the time. He's a great kid. But this
especially when it's surprising to you. Like my daughter was not great at tennis. She started. Now she's like doing stuff that blows me away.
I know.
It sounds the same with Aaron in baseball.
Sometimes it takes longer. Some kids progress differently, and he was like this, and boom.
Yeah.
And we'll see what he does the rest of the season. We're voting on who makes the All-Star team this week. I think he's got a good case to make it. And by the way, for those who may be interested, for the first time ever, Rocky River Little League, now officially called Rocky River Baseball League, but we're playing the Westlake Little League in the All-Star game in each grade. So it's going to be, it's the first time we've ever done that.
Inter-city rivalry.
Yeah, well, intra. Isn't it intra? Intra-city? Anyway, that's coming up in 2 weeks. But it was just such an exciting moment. We did lose the game, but...
who cares?
Yeah.
Aaron hit a home run. Who cares?
He was so excited. Everybody... was congratulating him. I'm getting texts from people that weren't even at the field like, hey, I heard Aaron hit a home run. The word spread like wildfire.
That's awesome.
The only regret I have is, I shot your Little League twice now. We mic'd you up and did that.
For that.
And we had talked about which dates to come out.
Yesterday was a day we were considering.
Yes, was one of the ones we looked at, and it wouldn't have ended up working out. But, and I know you lost, and you're 0-2 in the games I've been there for.
That's right.
But it would have been awesome if we had you mic'd up with the video footage of Aaron hitting a home run, and that would have been a lifelong memory. So I apologize. That
it's not your fault. Sadly, we don't have a video of it. I don't want my wife doesn't want to have to sit there and take a video of every at bat, so I understand.
I told her to buy a GoPro. I just put a little GoPro behind the cage now for the rest of it.
It was a real fun moment. Thanks for bringing it up, and we were super excited. So, and I'm super proud of him, not just because of this, but it was an exciting moment for everybody. So. And that's it. So that's it on my end. It's funny. One last thing. I use this site, and if you're a fantasy nerd like me, you know it. It's called Roto World. Do you ever use Roto World?
I know about it.
Right. So I go on there every night, and I just kind of look, see if anybody on my fantasy team's hurt or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the first entry is this, I don't remember what player it was. It was like, I think it was Riley Green of the Tigers. And Riley Green goes 3 for 4, blah, blah. And for a second, I was imagining them writing, Aaron Gerstenhaber, went 1 for 3 with a solo home run. He actually hit a line drive bullet his next at bat down the right field line, and it got caught. It was like a diving catch by their first baseman. But anyway, that's the story there. We got Major League Baseball to talk about. Let's get to it all right now, starting with Myles Garrett after this word from Anthony.
Yeah, guys, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways to play smart and win big than ever before. And if you've got a read on someone who's heating up, why not back it up with the same-game parlay? And if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If that bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
All right, guys. So Myles Garrett, we got OTAs going on this week. Myles Garrett is not at OTAs. He's in China?
Tokyo.
Japan.
Tokyo, Japan. Currently in Japan as voluntary OTAs get underway. Dustin, your thoughts on Myles Garrett not being an OTAs? Care, you don't care?
He's like the one guy that I don't think he has to be here. There's nothing for him to learn. There's nothing for him to do other than just be around the young players.
Yeah.
These OTAs are for guys that need to learn the system, especially the younger players. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they just had gone through their rookie mini camps, and there will be, I assume, quite a bit of veterans at this camp. But like he's the Joe Thomas. He's the I'm just trying to think about like players that I played with that maybe could have got away with, like a Brian Dawkins. Like, you're going to go to the Hall of Fame. You don't have to be at OTAs. It's just kind of assumed.
Yeah.
It doesn't rub anyone the wrong way in the locker room. It's not like one of those things where there's gonna be plenty of time for him to be around his teammates. Like, he's that good of a player. There's nothing that he has to prove other than being a teammate. That's it. I mean, he'll meet these guys. There's plenty of time for that. And he doesn't play quarterback. Dude, it's good. He's gonna be fine.
Kevin Stefanski, does he care?
Of course.
Okay. You'd rather him be there.
Yes. You would rather, when you're going out there, whether it's voluntary or not, you still want your top players to be there. You can't make them be there, obviously. And at the end of the day, he's not, no one's going to be mad at Myles Garrett. He's your best player on the damn team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when the season gets here, that dude goes.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue at all. Yeah, he would love for all of his guys to be there. It'd be amazing. It would help him, a coach that's trying to basically rebuild the organization again from scratch with a lot of young players. It helps when your veteran guys, your best players, can be there. He's not, and I get it. It's just not that big a deal.
Mike, you got a problem with it?
Not a problem. Like, problem is not the right word, but the Browns are coming off a 3-14 season. They're trying to rebuild a winning culture.
Yes,
and I think it helps build a winning culture when your best players are there for something.
I 100% agree with you.
There is nothing, and to your point, Myles Garrett will get nothing out of being at OTAs. He's not going to learn a new technique. He's not going to get stronger in ways that he can't working out in Tokyo, wherever he is. He's not going to miss out on a defensive assignment meeting that's going to compromise his ability to execute and succeed the game plan when the actual season comes around. But with that being said, Jimmy Haslam and the Browns gave Myles Garrett the biggest non-quarterback extension in the history of football this summer. And at the NFL owners' meetings, Jimmy was asked about that extension he gave to Myles. And if you have the quote, you can pull it up whenever you want. But he basically said, we want to challenge Myles to become a better leader. We want Myles to take on a bigger leadership role. He may not be the rah-rah guy that some other leaders are. Think Ray Lewis. Like, that's not his style of leadership. But we want the highest paid non-quarterback in football to be a leader of this team. And I think, and here's the exact quote from Jimmy Haslam. What we've challenged Myles on is, by his practice habits, by his actions, etc., to become a real leader of the team. And he has said he'd do that, and we're hopeful that he will be. Myles is by nature an introvert. He's not an extroverted rah-rah guy, but the Browns expect even more from their all-pro defensive end in the leadership space. That was Jimmy Haslam. That's not my words. That is the owner of the team who just gave him the biggest contract in the history of football for a non-quarterback.
Listen.
So I want him there. Do I think it's a big deal he's not? No, like I said, he's not going to get any better. He's not going to learn anything. But when you're trying to rebuild a culture from a team that went 3-14 last year, I'd like to see your best players there to help build that winning culture back up.
We all would like to see him there. I'd like to see him there. I think it would help the team if he was there. It'd help Kevin Stefanski. The owner just, you said, you read the quote. It's a fact. He needs to become a better leader, but maybe that's just not his MO. He just said it right there. He's an introvert. He's not really a rah-rah guy. We all know that about Myles Garrett. So that's not the biggest thing in the world. I don't know. I can see where people would be critical of him, and I totally get it. You also got to remember that at the end of the season, when the Browns had 3 wins, that guy's out there grinding. He may need this time to get away because he knows, and a lot of these veterans understand how to be a pro and how to take care of your body, and when there's a time to maybe get away from the game. whether it be a vacation. Maybe he's working with his personal trainer right now.
He's actually in Tokyo with his new girlfriend at an anime convention.
Great.
Which is right up Myles Garrett's alley.
And players need to be able to have some time away from the game. And there isn't a ton, by the way, in the regular season. And frankly, the off season, it's not as long as it used to be. So these guys are in Berea a ton. I'd rather be in Tokyo with my fiance or girlfriend than be in Berea at OTAs. So I can't blame the guy.
And
by the way, I will be critical of Myles Garrett when I have been many times. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's just a little disappointing.
Sure.
It's in the end, it's probably a no deal, like Dustin says, but it's just disappointing because you want all players there.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow missed one day of OTAs. He missed the first day to go to the Met Gala. And then he was there for the rest of the OTAs.
He wore a ridiculous outfit.
I didn't even see it. Doesn't everybody at that Met Gala wear ridiculous outfits?
I think the whole point is to
Was
wear.
his particularly ridiculous? I missed it.
Just
somehow.
as ridiculous as everybody else's.
Okay.
I mean, I'd probably look ridiculous if I went to the
Yeah, it's like the goal is to be the most ridiculous looking person there, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And as a Bengals fan, I was a little disappointed that he missed a day of OTAs to do something that I think is silly. But in the end, it is voluntary. Okay? Until we make it mandatory, I think it's unfair to get too down on a player for missing. Part of me says, well, why does Joe Burrow need to go to the stupid, what's it called again?
OTAs. Or the Met Gala.
Met Gala. And same thing with Myles Garrett. What, he's got to go to an anime convention? He could have gone to Japan. In Japan, there's probably an anime convention every 2 weeks. Couldn't he have gone 2 weeks ago? Could he have gone in April?
This might be the only
In his
one.
defense, I think it was an award show that his girlfriend was nominated for something.
Oh, okay. All right, well, good for her. But it's a minor thing. And the only reason it stands out a little bit is because you want him. I was going to say he's the leader of the team, but he's not.
You want him to be,
want
but
him
he's
to
not.
be a leader,
Yes.
and leaders need to be there. Leaders need to show up, and he's not a leader. And you'd think that someone that just got paid that much money would be there. In the end, it's a story we forget about in 2 seconds.
Maybe
Yeah.
the other side of this, to play
Yeah.
devil's advocate a
Yeah.
little bit, is maybe he sticks to the Browns. I mean,
Because he really did want to be out of here.
100% wanted to be out of here.
And the money is almost irrelevant because whatever team he would have ended up on would have paid him that same money.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Browns paid him an amount that other teams wouldn't have. I mean, if a team was going to trade for him, they would have paid him that money too. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. My guess is that he just wanted to be at this convention with his girlfriend.
That's my first inclination.
Yeah.
But I am just saying that he took a shot at Andrew Berry about the Canton thing.
Yeah.
So he could be sending a message like, hey, I got your money and I don't have to be there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's got all the power.
He's got all the power
They
delivered,
can't do
yeah.
anything to him.
He does.
Yeah.
They can't do anything to him at all. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be there at training camp, and he's going to, if the Browns don't have a bad year, are we going to say, oh, well, if Myles had been at OTAs, maybe they'd have a better season this year?
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Him being there versus not is not the difference of them going 4-13 versus 9-8. Like him being there for this makes no difference in that sense. It's just one of those things. To your point, Bull, you kind of just want your best players there because
you want them there.
You want everyone there. I want the entire team there, and maybe although Myles can't get anything from being there, Mason Graham can learn something from being with Myles.
Right.
They'll get enough time together where I'm sure those things will come together, but. You want the Browns. We all want the Browns to have a successful season.
Yeah.
We want to hope, and we have.
Do the Browns want the Browns to have a successful season?
They're building for next year.
So, you want all these opportunities to come together and have a chance to build upon.
Yeah.
This is the first brick in laying the foundation for whatever the next future of the Browns is.
Yeah.
And when Myles isn't there, it's harder to do that. But does it really matter? No, it's just I want my best players there, and if he's not, it is what it is.
Certainly not worth crushing the guy.
No.
It's not. I think it's totally reasonable to be disappointed he's not there without making too big a deal about it. All right, we'll leave it right there. More OTA talk coming up, including the quarterback depth chart. First, Anthony, what do you got?
Are you ready to tell us about
or what
Menu
I
RX
got
here, Bull?
That's right, Menu RX. In fact, Dr. Jake May is coming to Cleveland. He's from Cleveland. He lives down in New Orleans as part of this great weight loss clinic and nutrition facility down in the Louisiana area. But he's a Cleveland guy. He loves all Cleveland teams, and he's coming for a visit the first week of June. And he and I will be getting together next week to talk about things. And Dr. Jake and the rest of the team at Menu RX, they work with you as an individual. In fact, Jake's going to be doing some testing, some metabolic testing on me next week. And if you want to have it done for you, then go to menu-rx.com, find out more about it. They do metabolic testing on you to find out what foods work. No diet works. A diet can work well for me and not well for Dustin, and vice versa. Everybody's body is different. People react differently to different foods. And so all these other diet programs that have the same program for everybody, it makes no sense because nobody's body works that way. And if you're not looking to lose weight, but you want to get in better shape, or you want to know if you're eating right, you want to tighten up your body, whatever, there's all different ways they can help. One-on-one counseling, one-on-one conversation. And right now, if you sign up at menurx.com, you'll get a free year-long subscription to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show to see our overtime segments. That's a $60 value, absolutely free. Go to menu-rx.com. That's menu-rx.com. All right. So the quarterback depth chart, guys. Is that what we're hitting on now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So according to Mary Kay Cabot, do we have the list there?
I will take a second to pull it up here, but we have it. It is
so Kenny Pickett,
Gabriel, Sanders, Flacco, and then Sanders at fourth.
Mike,
so do with that information what you will.
Do you care about the quarterback depth chart right now?
It's not a depth chart.
What is it?
It is how the reps are going to be divvied up right now.
Now,
there's no depth chart right now.
Okay, that makes sense. So does Mary
to answer the question?
Does Mary Kay? I don't know. Does she know this for sure, or is she speculating?
I believe it's speculation.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I believe it's speculation based on information.
Yeah, she's well connected. Okay, so what do we make of it? Is this what do we think? Nothing, something? Does it matter?
It is May 28th at 11:22 a.m.
That's correct.
It is completely irrelevant what the perceived depth chart is, the practice hierarchy of we are so far away from meaningful football in terms of actually evaluating these guys and what one player does versus one player doesn't do. That none of this matters today. But I did have a little conspiracy theory I want to throw you guys.
Yeah.
I personally do not believe Kenny Pickett is an NFL starting quarterback. I've seen enough in Pittsburgh. Maybe my mind will be changed if Kevin Stefanski can wring something out of him that we didn't see in Pittsburgh. But I am not under the belief that Kenny Pickett is at that level to play play for the Browns or for any team right now at that position. But through every preseason depth chart, whatever we've heard from Kevin Stefanski, from Mary Kay, it's Pickett is the number one guy that everyone else below. Is there any chance the Browns are trying to just prop up his trade value and put him in a position to where other people may think he's better and he's in a position where, hey, Kenny Pickett's number one on the Browns depth chart, so when trade discussions come along, a quarterback gets hurt, New Orleans may need a guy later because they lost Derek Carr.
No, I don't think. Sorry to cut you off. I don't think so. I don't think it's for trade value. I think that they're genuinely trying to find a quarterback, and Kenny Pickett has some value and some upside, I should say, probably more so than value, that he could still be a starting quarterback in this league. I'm kind of with you that I probably don't think that he's the answer for the Browns at quarterback, but he was a first-round pick. I watched him play a lot of great college football at Pittsburgh. He's a talented kid. He's a very athletic kid. I think he's got a chance. You put him with, everyone hypes up Stefanski as the quarterback whisperer. Well, he's got a talented kid here. So let's see if he can help him turn it around. They got two rookies. They got a veteran. They know what Flacco can do.
That's right.
Flacco, there's nothing Flacco's going to do in these OTAs or mini camps or even training camp that's going to prove to the Browns that we know he can play. We know he's limited with what he can do. We know he probably won't make it through the entire season. But Flacco is kind of that emergency. Like, he can play quarterback for this team no matter what and keep the ship afloat. Pickett could be the answer. Gabriel could be the answer. Sanders could be. Those guys are going to compete their asses off to see if the Browns have to go back to the draft next year. Most likely they will, and draft a quarterback in the first round. That's why they did the Travis Hunter deal. They've told us that they're not really trying to win this year.
Yeah, but it is still, on some level, mixed signals, because if you're not trying to win this year, then you would just go with the rookies right away.
But they don't know what those rookies can do.
Yeah.
And listen, they're a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick. it's very unlikely that these guys will be ready to go early in the season. Maybe at some point. And the other thing is, if you really truly thought that Gabriel or Sanders, by the way, was the answer, you wouldn't take 2 rookie quarterbacks. You're throwing darts. You're trying to have as many swings of the axe at trying to find the answer at quarterback, because if you were, you wouldn't have the 2 guys splitting reps. So if you wanted Gabriel, let's say you thought this guy was going to be the answer.
Yeah.
You're not splitting reps with another rookie. No, you wanted to get as many reps as possible to see what this kid can do. Instead, you're saying, well, let's just let these guys kind of divvy up the reps, boom, 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 and find out what they can do. And that's what they're telling us they're going to do.
All right. So in response to first your thing, your conspiracy theory is nuts.
I told you it's conspiracy.
Yeah, nobody's giving up anything of value for Kenny Pickett. I think most of the league looks at Kenny Pickett as like, yeah, we could start him if we need to, but he's not again, he hasn't played enough that we know with 100% certainty how good he is.
Right.
But I think the general consensus is probably the best case scenario with him is he's
long-term
a serviceable starting quarterback, like number 20 in the league or something, and ultimately that's not going to get it done. No team wants to be in a situation where you have between the 20th and 35th best quarterback in the league. That puts you in a bad spot. So I don't think what he does in OTAs or even in preseason is not going to change anybody's mind on what his trade value is.
No.
They're not. Joe Flacco's not getting first reps because of exactly what Dustin said. Everybody knows what Joe Flacco can do.
Well, and here's the thing, Adam.
Yeah.
Why would they trade Pickett if he played well?
Right.
They need a quarterback.
Yeah, that's true.
So, if his value got high, the Browns would be like, well, we need a quarterback. Why would you trade him?
I just said it's conspiracy. I didn't say I totally bought it. I was just throwing it out there as a...
But playing well in the preseason and training camp doesn't mean you're going to be good in the regular season. We've seen DTR play decently in the preseason.
2 years in a row.
And look how terrible he was when he gets on the field. So the order doesn't really mean anything now. Flacco's off to the side because you know what you got with him as long as his arm's still good, which I'm sure it is. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. And then you look at the other 3 guys, and you're going to give Pickett the reps first because he has experience in the league and the other 2 don't. And it's that simple. And yes, I think in some ways fans are thinking about this Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders situation as if, well, one of them's going to be the quarterback. But we don't know if either of them are any good. We don't know if either of them is an NFL quarterback. We have no idea. These guys are not sure things. You could say whatever you want about Shedeur Sanders. We should have been drafted higher, blah, blah, blah. Shedeur Sanders did not drop out of the first round because of off-the-field stuff. He dropped out of the first round because nobody that needed a quarterback in the first round thought he was worthy of a first-round pick. Now, once you get past the first round, he probably did drop further because of some, the off-the-field stuff. It's not like he's gotten in trouble, but you guys know what I mean.
He's got a lot of baggage.
Right, and that's why he dropped further. But that would have all been ignored if teams thought he was a first-round quarterback.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's not a first-round quarterback, or at least he's not perceived as. There are a handful of quarterbacks that are not drafted in the first round that turn out they should have been. Not many, though. And we'll see if he can be one. Same thing with Dylan Gabriel.
Yep.
Nobody thought he was he was a late 3rd round pick for a reason. Most teams didn't think he was that good. Because all the teams that needed a quarterback passed on him at least 2 times, if not 3. So, again, both of these guys are long shots. If you're a quarterback drafted after the 35th pick, you're a long shot to ever be a starter. So that's the situation here. And, for all we think of Kenny Pickett, Dustin makes a good point. Unlike these guys, he was a first-round pick. And he was not in a great situation in Pittsburgh. They've kind of been a stagnant offense for a number of years, not a great passing game. Again, for me personally, I've seen nothing of Kenny Pickett in the NFL that makes me think he's going to be good. But,
no one thought that Geno Smith was going to be good.
Nobody thought Geno was going to be good. I'm not convinced you can win in the big-time way with Geno, but he's proven himself to be a pretty decent quarterback, certainly better than what I think Kenny Pickett is.
Yeah.
And obviously the late development of Sam Darnold plays a role. By the way, I don't want to hear about Baker in this. Baker doesn't belong in that conversation. He was solid here. Now, he's obviously been a lot better in Tampa, but he wasn't a zero here like those guys were. So
I'm excited to see. So today's the first day that OTAs are open to the media.
Yeah.
And Jason Lloyd, who's on tomorrow, is out there or will be out there. Zach Jackson's coming on tomorrow. Yeah. We had Zach Jackson on after the first rookie OTAs or rookie camp, whatever you want to call it. If you remember, Zach was the only person last year who was accurate in his reporting of what he saw from the quarterback position at camp. So we'll get you guys like the eyewitness reports from OTAs tomorrow. But I'm excited to see these guys go into battle. Like, this is the first time we see both rookies plus both veterans in some sort of legitimate competition. And after rookie camp, Stefanski said, we have 4 arms that we need to, I don't believe when he says 4 evaluate because they already know what they have in Flacco, but we're going to add some competitive passing to our practice structure to make sure each of these guys is getting enough reps that we can get a read on them. And who knows what the media will see versus not see, how much they'll show versus not show in the one day that it's open to the media. But I'm excited to see these guys actually go to battle because, Dustin, you can speak on this better than anyone. Competition either brings the best out of people and brings the worst out of people. When you see some of these throws, guys throwing on air in shorts, they're all supposed to look incredible in these situations.
Yeah,
the Browns wouldn't post a bad throw in this situation when no one else is there. And 2, there's no pass rush. Yeah. There's no offensive line. There's no defense. All these throws should look perfect, and they were yesterday. Now we'll see when it's one guy, then the next guy, then the next guy, what they're ready to do.
Are they really competing, though, at this point? Like, because it is all on air? I mean, like, how much real competition is there at this point?
I mean, the players are competing. The quarterbacks are competing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And remember, it's not just like, oh, that pass was good just because he's wide open. It's like, okay, did he throw to the right guy? Did you take what we just taught you in the classroom to the practice field and you executed it? So you're more, frankly, you learn a lot about how quickly these guys, especially the quarterbacks, how quickly they can take something. The coaches will install it. They'll tell you what we're going to do. They'll take a look at the script. They go out there to the practice field, and if they execute it, that tells them that they may have something in the player, especially upstairs. Like, the mental approach to this game for rookies and young players is, at that position, so much more difficult. The learning curve is so steep.
So Kevin Stefanski did an interview. I forget if it was with ESPN Cleveland or 92.3 last Friday. But during one of those 2 interviews, he was asked, what are you looking for with these rookie quarterbacks? And he said the most important thing in OTAs when there's no pass rush is if a guy makes a mistake on Tuesday, we're going to put him back in that exact same situation on Wednesday. How does he respond? Does he learn? How quickly can he process and say, this was wrong now or wrong yesterday?
Be a tell him once guy.
How do I make it right?
Be a tell him
and
once
that's
guy.
the stuff I do think you can pick up in these circumstances where there's no pass rush. Well, you're right. It's all going to change when the live bullets are flying. But that's the kind of stuff you can pick up from these rookies, from these younger guys, from a Kenny Pickett. I don't know if Joe Flacco necessarily falls into that camp with 20 years of experience in the NFL, but can Pickett make a mistake on Tuesday, figure out what was wrong, diagnose it, and fix it for Wednesday? I do think there are some tangible improvements you can see from these guys.
I agree.
When you talk about the quarterbacks learning and how much work that is at this time of the year, are these guys overwhelmed, you think? I mean, can it be overwhelming?
Yeah, absolutely.
At this point?
I remember my rookie minicamp, which was like pretty fast. They threw a lot at you in a couple of days. And then when the veterans showed up for the mandatory stuff, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was the fastest football I'd ever seen. And remember, I mean, there's no pads. There's no pass rush. But, I mean, it was like, dude, it was like stepping into traffic on I-10.
Did you think it was?
You're like, oh my God. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, they put me out there with the ones the first day. They put me at free safety. I'm out there with Darren Sharper on one side, and I'm like, I look across, and it's like Dante Culpepper's the quarterback, and I'm looking outside, and I'm seeing these receivers who I watched play in college and in the pros when I was a kid, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, right.
And I felt like I had cement shoes on because it was moving so fast. So
it creates a level of anxiety for a younger player.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
No player has seen the speed like this.
Right. No matter
regardless
what.
of what
no
level
matter
of college football you played. Big Ten, SEC, it doesn't matter. Nothing like this.
Yeah, because there may be a handful of guys that you played with and against that have that speed, but in the NFL, everybody does.
Yeah, and there's 10 more things to think about.
Right. Did you, going into it, before you had that moment when you were on the field, and you're like, oh my God, and all the stress hits you, was there a lot of anxiety leading up to that? Did you think it was going to be that stressful?
I mean, honestly, I was more concerned about like my physicality and like would I be big enough and all those things. And I was fast enough, quick enough. I mean, that was fine. I just thought that when I had to start thinking about what we're installing, and then I have like 19 checks before the ball's even snapped, and then I have to remember who I'm looking at, who's number one, and what if he disappears and he becomes number one, and I got to is he looking like there's a million things. It's slow. When you're thinking, it makes you like everything moves so much faster too. So it's challenging, and these guys, it's good. It's a good thing, and if the players are swimming right now, they all are.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'll really look forward to talking to Zach Jackson because I feel like in
just
terms
talked to
of
him on the way in today. I mean, he's.
What do you have to say so far?
I mean, he's excited about the team. He says Shedeur, it looks like he throws the ball like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
But these guys all have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Gabriel's very small.
Yeah.
So that's obviously why he wasn't drafted that high. I mean, it's not. We're all excited about what's going to happen at the quarterback position because that's the battle. It hasn't been that for a while now with the Browns because they've had Deshaun and they had Baker. But prior to that, I mean, this is like the Super Bowl season for the Browns because it's all about the draft, it's about the offseason, it's about the hope of the upcoming year. Absolutely, it's been how many years?
8 years since we've had a real quarterback competition.
Crazy.
Zach is not like someone who gets overly excited about things. As you know better than anybody, so like
no, he doesn't think the team's going to be good this year,
right? No, but the fact that he's like kind of excited and he's got his eye, he thought it was noticeable that Shedeur was better.
Yep,
that's caught my attention because, as Mike said, like everybody else was talking about Deshaun Watson playing well last year, and Zach kept saying he looks like crap. He was right.
Honestly,
obviously.
I mean, Zach's a friend of mine. And has been for a long time, but no one speaks the truth like him about the team.
He just knows football,
and he knows the game. The guy watches a zillion college football games. High school games, college games, like the guy just knows ball.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So that'll be big tomorrow having him on.
Before we move on real quick.
Yeah.
I have crapped on the Browns social media team a lot.
Yeah.
I thought they put out maybe the best piece of content, and this is actually being serious.
I missed it.
As opposed to their schedule release, which is the worst.
Terrible. And we put up the Judkins video. The Judkins clip.
Let's talk about Judkins. That's our next topic. No.
Well, it was all weaved in with this, but if you guys didn't see it, they this is the best piece of content they have ever put out, and it's a very low bar. But when you come to training camp videos, the movement with the player like that, as opposed to just the stagnant. Let's take a wide shot on a phone and let it go.
The
gimbal it's called.
They don't.
I like that.
I just wanted to. I didn't know if we were moving on, but just wanted to give him a shout out for actually doing something other than the absolute bare minimum.
There's your starting running back.
He looks like a starting running back.
He's gonna be.
Yeah,
it's a great shot.
We're all gonna miss Nick Chubb, but it is exciting when there's a new running back in the mix.
Fresh legs,
young guy.
Fresh legs.
New weapons. It doesn't have to be running back. Weapons.
Well, but the thing is with the running back, like your quarterback if your quarterback stinks, it's hard for a wide receiver to make a huge impact as a rookie. I mean, we've seen it, and like a guy like Josh Gordon or whatever, Malik Neighbors, sure. But a running back, like your quarterback cannot be good, and you could still make a huge impact as a rookie. And running backs, more than any other position, hit the ground running. Like how often, like almost every great running back in at least modern NFL
was great right away.
As long as they had the opportunity their first year, were great right away. You don't see a lot of running backs who are like
in year 7, like where did he come from? He's been in the league for 7 years.
The only time it ever takes a running back some time is if they didn't get the opportunity right away. Like Derrick Henry, I remember his first year or two, he didn't carry the ball very much. It's a while now. Nick Chubb, even the first half or 6 games, didn't carry the ball. Once he got the opportunity, sensational. Once Henry got the opportunity, sensational.
And rookies
you see that with every guy.
Can come in right away and basically be the best running back in football almost immediately. Like
absolutely.
Saquon Barkley did it as a rookie.
Absolutely. We've seen that time and time again.
At least carrying the ball because
that's
these guys, we're not like I don't want to minimize that they don't have. It's like these guys can be a box of rocks. Eventually, you have to learn how to pass and make checks and do all these things. But right away, it's like just hand the ball off. This guy knows where to go on power.
Yeah,
I mean,
no doubt.
See the hole and go.
You look at Quinshon Judkins. You look at Travion Henderson. You look at Ashton Genty. I'm expecting all those guys to have big seasons.
Oh, yeah.
But especially Genty and Judkins because they're going to get bell cow opportunities, if you will. I'm expecting Judkins touch the ball 15 times a game, which in the modern NFL is pretty good
Quite
amount.
There's no excuse, I don't think, for him not to. I mean, Stefanski said he wants to go back to a more his style of offense, which is establishing the run. I don't love Jerome Ford. I like Dylan Sampson, but Judkins was the second-round pick, one of the first 5 picks in the second round for a reason. Some argued he was the second most talented back in the entire draft behind Ashton Genty. There's no reason. And it's not like they have a ton of pass receivers or pass catchers that are going to be demanding 7 to 10 targets a game. Like, why wouldn't Judkins get 10, 15
And if
touches?
the Browns have a good running game, that's going to take off pressure on, assuming they're playing one of their young quarterbacks, and if it's not Joe Flacco, because even Pickett's a young quarterback still. I mean, he hasn't played a lot. So a good running game is going to help a young quarterback. It's going to help any quarterback, but especially a young quarterback to take the pressure off him. Judkins has all the talent in the world. To me, if you're a running back and you get drafted high in the second round, you're essentially a first-round pick. Because running backs, except for a few guys, get pushed down the board. So, I don't know if I should say this. I guess I could say this. Nobody's going to, whatever. I won't even say the person's name. But I know somebody that was in the Cowboys draft room. I actually don't know the guy personally. I'm just in a fantasy league with him, and he shared this information. And he said that the Cowboys, for what it's worth, it's only one team. It's not as bad as much as you pick on the Cowboys. The Cowboys have actually been decent at drafting. They've actually drafted pretty well.
They've done everything else poorly in roster construction.
Yeah, pretty much. But they've drafted pretty well. And this guy said that they had Judkins as a top 15 player in the draft. And but just running backs generally don't go in the first round unless it's a Genty or we saw it with Bijan, a couple of guys. But
that goes back to the whole draft talk when we were getting into it. There was like that class of 5-6 guys at the top, and then everyone had 7 through 40 in whatever order they wanted. There was no real consensus. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
I bet you there's a lot of teams that had, and maybe even including the Browns, that had Quinshon Judkins as a first-round player. So
absolutely.
I'm expecting first-round production from Quinshon Judkins. If he gets the opportunity, I don't think it's a stretch at all to expect him to have 1,200 yards. Assuming he gets the opportunity we think he's going to get and stays healthy. I see him having a big rookie season, and obviously the Browns have not had a very good running game since the last Nick Chubb healthy season, which was 2022. And that would be huge. All right, we've spent the first 42 minutes.
Before we go, we got one video from our number 5 pick, Mason Graham. He's not throwing up in this one. I just wanted to play it. Yeah, he's the only rookie we haven't mentioned today.
That is Martin.
That is not Mason Graham.
1 second, sorry.
Martin Emerson?
That don't look anything like Mason Graham.
This is Mason Graham.
This is Mason Graham. Look at this. That's a cool video, too. I'll give him that.
Yeah, shout out to the Browns social media team.
That's pretty solid the way they're doing that. What is this telling us, Dustin? Did that tell you anything, that video? Does it say anything about Mason Graham at all, or no?
He looks very athletic. He's got great hips. I mean, look at how he moves and turns his agility. Look how low he's able to bend.
That's way tougher than it looks, isn't it?
Yeah.
To get down and turn like that.
For a guy that size, too, right?
The knee bend and then to be able to turn, I mean, it's great short area quickness.
I got to say,
you've been tough on
I've been a little negative about Mason Graham.
Dude, he's going to be a dominant player.
But it stems with just the disappointment of them not drafting Travis Hunter. But that's not fair. There's no reason not to.
You're gonna like him.
To be negative about him. So I'm going to change that attitude. I'm going to give him a full opportunity, and I hope he has great success.
We're going to get you a Mason Graham jersey.
You know me. I always appreciate a fat guy. And he's not fat. He's in good shape, but he looks like a fat guy, even though he is really in good shape. And apparently, the only thing he's got to work on his pass rush moves, is what they said coming out of college. But apparently, the rest of his game is fantastic. So. He hopefully will turn out to be an excellent player. So I'm going to stop being I kind of feel like I picked on him a little bit. So I'm going to
definitely have.
I'm not going to do that anymore. All right, Anthony, let's switch gears. Talk some baseball.
All right, guys. Before we get to baseball, I want to remind you about Buckeye State Credit Union. If you haven't heard of them yet, meet your new favorite financial partner. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local institution offering everything from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans, and with some of the lowest rates in Northeast Ohio. Their Cleveland branch is in Shaker Heights, which is one of 5 locations across the state, making it super easy for you to find one near you. Can't get to a branch? No problem. They make it super easy with digital banking. And what sets them apart? Well, they make banking personal and convenient. At Buckeye, they focus on you. Their core values, connect, simply, adapt, guide everything they do. They bring people together, cut through the clutter, and are innovative. So learn more by visiting buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified.
All right, so the Guardians lose again to the Dodgers yesterday. They've dropped 2 in a row to the Dodgers here. And I think this – it's not funny that they lost, and they lose 9-5, and they have not played well in these 2 games against the Dodgers. Tanner Bybee really did not – coming off just a fantastic start with a disappointing outing. He did have 7 strikeouts, but he allowed 10 base runners in 5 innings and gave up 4 runs. Hunter Gaddis came back from the I don't know if it was on the paternity or the bereavement. Was it bereavement? And he gave up a run, which has not happened that often, and just not a good day by any of the pitchers outside of Tim Herron. Offensively, Daniel Schneemann broke out of his slump with a home run. But, I got to say, I'm so sick of this. I saw Ken talking about this a little bit this morning, and I'm sure everybody's pulling the same song and dance. The Guardians have played poorly against the Dodgers, and all of a sudden I see everybody on Twitter and those who maybe don't follow baseball closely enough in sports media going, well, how are the Guardians supposed to compete with the Dodgers? The Dodgers have this payroll, the Guardians have that payroll. And on some level, I get what you're saying. There's less room for error when you have a lower payroll. This is, and baseball is somewhat to blame for this massive disparity in payroll. But ultimately, the blame lies with ownership. The Guardians could have a significantly higher payroll. Nobody can convince me otherwise. There's no reason the Guardians' payroll, which is at roughly $100 million, couldn't be at $150, $160 million. Okay, would that be close to the Dodgers? No. But think about how good the Guardians are right now. If they had added an extra $50, $60 million on the payroll, you could, in theory, add 3 really good players or 2 superstars, maybe not superstars, but 2 all-star
2 legit guys.
Players. Yeah. And how much better are the Guardians with 2 all-stars or 3 good players right now? This idea that they can't compete is silly. I understand the Dodgers won last year. They're a big favorite this year. The Guardians have consistently competed. This idea, well, they can't go to the World Series. Did they lose to the Yankees because the Yankees had a bigger payroll? I don't believe that. I don't believe they lost to the Yankees in the playoffs because of the Yankees' payroll. They lost to the Yankees in the playoffs because the Guardians' bullpen, which was great all year, crapped the bed when it mattered the most. And the Yankees came through with clutch home runs, and the Guardians did not. Baseball, the great thing about baseball is that no matter what your payroll, it's a more random sport. If there was no salary cap in football and basketball,
the same
it'd be
teams
impossible.
would win every year because you can dominate. Same thing in
right.
basketball.
It doesn't work that way in baseball.
Yeah, there's more randomness to baseball.
Exactly. Obviously, the Dodgers and the Yankees have an advantage, but part of the advantage is the Guardians' ownership being unwilling to spend. They have enough money to do so. You can say, well, you don't know that for a fact, and that's fair, but I know enough about baseball, and I've heard enough behind the scenes, and there's no convincing me that the Guardians couldn't have a significantly higher payroll when they have in the past. Okay? And when they have spent in recent years, they've spent poorly. Let's face it. All the free agents they've signed in recent years have been bad. That's a factor here. So, yes, the Yankees can screw up signings, and the Dodgers can have 10 guys on the injured list, and they still have a good team. I get it. There's always going to be that advantage. There's an advantage in the other sports, right? Some owners, even though there's a salary cap, the Eagles, the Browns have an advantage in the NFL because their owner is willing to spend when other owners are not. You think, as much as I'll credit the Bengals for signing Higgins and Chase, and that was great, if Trey Hendrickson... If the Browns were, if Jimmy Haslam owned the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson would be signed too now. Maybe he ultimately will, but it would have been done already. Yeah. And they would have signed Higgins and Chase last year, so it wouldn't have been as bad a cap hit as it was. So, but I get it. I get it's frustrating that other teams outspend, but it's not like the Yankees and Dodgers in the last 25 years have combined to win 2 World Series. You can say, well, the Guardians have won none. True. The Guardians didn't lose to the Cubs because of money. They lost because the rain delay or one. I mean, that was an even World Series. And by the way, it's just it's not just you can't. Every time the Guardians lose to the Dodgers or the Yankees, this whole woe is me, we can't compete, that's crap.
I want to respond to 3 things you said real quick, all in the same vein. The Mets had the most expensive payroll in baseball last year.
Right.
Did they make the playoffs?
Yes. 2 years ago they did.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Did they win the World Series last year?
No.
Money does not guarantee you wins. The Yankees' point, last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes, Clase in the bullpen dissipated in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But who are the 3 guys that killed them? Judge, Stanton,
Yeah.
Soto. That's $1 billion between 3 players. So I see what you're saying, but those 3 guys are guys that Cleveland can't hasn't paid money for.
You know what? The Yankees didn't lost Soto.
Yep.
Because they didn't want to pay him, right?
Fact.
Well, that's not really.
It's not they didn't want to pay him.
But they did lose him.
They got outbid.
Well, to some degree, yes. Okay. Stanton has been a huge bust for the Yankees.
Yep.
He was great in the playoffs last year. For the most part, he's been a bust because he's been hurt all the time.
I'm just saying those 3 guys that did kill him are all guys that have $300+ million contracts.
That's fair.
And then my last point.
But if Jose Ramirez is getting paid a huge contract, he didn't come through.
And that's where I was getting with this.
Okay, and then David Fry came through. He wasn't making a lot of money.
Yesterday, Tanner Bybee was on the mound.
Yeah, and by the way, the Yankees' bullpen was a big part of why they won, and nobody in their bullpen last year was making a lot of money.
No,
Luke Weaver
wasn't
making a lot of money.
That's why they went out and traded for Devin Williams.
Yeah, he's been terrible.
Good this year, yeah.
And he isn't making a lot of money either, by the way.
Well, not yet, but he's in line. But that's
I don't know. He's been horrible this year, so I don't know if he's in line for making a ton of money.
Fair enough. My point is, yesterday Tanner Bybee was on the mound.
Yeah.
Does Tanner Bybee, did he get a contract extension from the Guardians?
He did.
They paid him, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that's being paid like he would be paid in another market.
Yeah.
That's not a stat line that's good enough to beat some of the best teams in
the
baseball.
Dodgers were using not a rookie pitcher, a second-year pitcher making no money.
Dustin May, right?
Dustin May, yeah.
And he outpaced Tanner Bybee yesterday. When you look at the Guardians, when they have spent money since at least I've been here, I can't talk before I've gotten here, but since 22, these are the guys that they've spent money on. Josh Bell, Mike Zunino. They gave Andres Jimenez that giant extension.
Yeah.
Who was the guy this year that they...
Paul Sewald.
Sewald hasn't lived up to... They did pay Tanner Bybee, which has worked.
Jose Ramirez.
I guess Jose technically was when I first got here.
Yeah.
But of those 5, 3 have been complete swing and misses.
Yeah.
Santana has not been the player that... Santana was the one I was looking for. Has not been able to replace Josh Naylor by himself. And if they're going to spend money, when the team that doesn't spend money does actually put some resources to fixing holes in the roster, they have to hit. They have to actually turn into what they are hoping they are getting for.
Yeah.
And Zunino is DFA'd. Josh Bell was DFA'd. Carlos Santana is not Josh Naylor.
Yeah.
And the extensions they gave to Bybee and Jose, great deals. But Sewald hasn't been the bullpen guy.
He was a waste.
Scott Barlow
was a waste last year.
Was not. So, they have spent little bits of money, but they have not got the return on the little bit of money that they've needed.
And again, I'm not saying the payroll disparity isn't an advantage, but this idea that they can't compete at all. I mean, the Guardians have gone to the ALCS a lot of times in the last 30 years, or to the World Series. They have been able to seal the deal, and we'd look at it all differently if they'd won one of the 3 World Series in the last 30 years that they were in. Unfortunately, they haven't. I don't believe they can't compete. I don't believe that, listen, I don't even think that, this idea that the Dodgers are going to win 130 games. Yes, their payroll's crazy. Yes, are there things that baseball should change? Absolutely. What the Dodgers have done, I think that needs to be changed in terms of they are deferring money. I don't think you could defer money in terms of the actual dollars, but it should count against the payroll now.
Yeah, yes.
You can't just have, it can't, in terms of the luxury tax, because there is a luxury tax in Major League Baseball, which is, to some degree, a very soft cap. And it has affected teams, except for the Dodgers have kind of ignored it. But even the Yankees have not really messed with the second luxury tax level. And the Dodgers have gone above and beyond because they've deferred all these contracts. And I think that is something that needs to be cleaned up in the next collective bargaining agreement.
Is Ohtani still technically making $2 million per year on
Basically,
the Dodgers books because $68 million has been deferred?
Right, and that's crazy.
So Ohtani's a $2 million player by the books, even though he's actually getting paid.
Yes, and that's bad. That needs to be cleaned up. That's a mistake. And I think it's something that the league didn't even think about, because usually players in the past have not wanted to take deferments.
They want their money.
Right, or at least not significant deferments. But Ohtani took basically his whole contract in deferment, which was, smart by him, because, I think $2 million a year is plenty of money, plus how much is he making in endorsements in Japan alone, let alone in America. And so he's got that money for the rest of his life, obviously. But usually players wouldn't have taken that in the past, so I don't think anybody thought of it. That needs to be cleaned up. There's never going to be a hard salary cap in baseball. The only way to get it would be to have a lockout or a strike for a whole year. That's terrible for the game. We see we haven't had a repeat World Series champ since the 90s. So, I mean, come on. I get it. It's frustrating, but blame the owner. Blame baseball a little bit, but blame the owner more than baseball. This idea that we're going to, I don't know. I love Ken, but he's like, well, I'm not blaming the Guardians. Well, you should blame the Guardians. Ken, I mean, you should blame the Guardians. Who else are you going to blame? You want to blame the MLB? Okay, give them a share of the blame, but you got to spend more money. There are teams in smaller markets spending more money than the Guardians. So let's go.
The Athletics doled out a good chunk of change.
Well, they still have a shitty payroll.
I mean, but they actually spent.
Well, they spent this year, but their payroll was like $50 million. So
what's it now, though?
It's still not. I don't know if it's higher than the Guardians, but it's probably in the same neck of the woods. But
I just know they're a team that went from nothing.
The Milwaukee Brewers have a higher payroll consistently than the Guardians. Why? Why do the Milwaukee Brewers have a higher payroll? Who the hell's going to Milwaukee?
Yeah, and they're not winning anything.
No, I mean, they make the playoffs fairly consistently.
Sure. And then they get bounced just like the
Guardians. Usually get bounced early. The Guardians have had way more playoff success than the Brewers have.
Their payroll is up significantly, but it's still not.
Right.
Still not.
Well, you got the whole payroll list?
I can pull it up. I just pulled the A's up.
Yeah.
The A's were at 78 million.
Yeah, their payroll was nothing. So, yeah, they did spend a little money this offseason, but still not giving them credit for that because they have a low payroll. The Rays don't spend.
According to USA Today.
Yeah.
Is that
maybe.
accurate enough?
Go ahead.
I mean, give me a team.
Just start from whoever's 11th or 12th. Who's 11th or 12th?
The Mets are number one at 300.
Yeah, forget the top. Those I don't want to compare them to the big market teams. But
11 Arizona, 195 million.
Okay.
12 the Red Sox, 193.
Okay.
13 the Angels, 190. 14 the Giants, 174. Baltimore, small market, 162.
Yeah.
Seattle, 146. Detroit, 143. Minnesota, 142. St. Louis, 141. Kansas City, 130. The Rockies, 120 for 9 wins or 10 wins.
They're stuck with a couple bad contracts.
Cincinnati, 115. Milwaukee, 115. Washington, 107. Cleveland at 25th at 100.
Yeah, I mean, all those teams that have a 150 to 130, like, how many teams have a payroll more than 215? Yankees, the Mets, and the Dodgers?
7 teams are over 215.
Oh, really? Go ahead.
Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, Blue Jays, Rangers, and Astros, but Rangers and Astros are at 220, so just above that 215.
Okay, so if the Guardians, I know this sounds crazy, but if the Guardians' payroll was 150, well, the difference between a 220 payroll and a 150 payroll, while obviously significant, that doesn't give a massive advantage to the other team because you're going to screw up enough with the other team that it's going to kind of even itself out. That could be just 1 or 2 different contracts. If the Guardians had a $150 million contract, despite some failures the last few years, I overall think the Guardians front office, for the most part, does a good job in their tenure, has done a good job more often than other teams. And, and they need to spend on hitting because they have not developed hitting the way they've been able to develop pitching. And that's the frustrating thing. But, this idea that, their lineup can't compete with the Dodgers because of payroll. Well, okay, yeah, that's fair. You can't have as good a lineup as the Dodgers, but it shouldn't be this big a disparity. If the Guardians spent more and developed more, then the disparity between the two wouldn't be nearly as big. And by the way, the Guardians have a better bullpen than the Dodgers, despite their massive payroll. All right, let's leave it there with the Guardians as we just about approach the noon hour. Anthony, what do you got for us?
Yeah, guys, we're swinging back over to basketball here, and as we do that, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you got a read on someone who's heating up, why not back it up with a same-game parlay? And if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. You head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and you place your first $5 bet. If that bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment of the NBA playoffs more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
I put on Mike and Jason when they started the Ultimate Cavs show at, 8 this morning or 9?
8, yeah.
8. And then like a minute in, and it was unfair because I don't know what you guys had to say after that. But I'm so sick of the two of you talking about how you can't trade anybody.
I told you I'm going to have trades for you next
All right,
Tuesday.
good.
I'm
Then
going to do a
I'm
whole
not
trade
listening to
segment
these
Tuesday.
guys tell me that you have to keep Darius Garland because he's better than all the players everybody wants to trade for, and yet nobody wants to trade for him.
I have 6 trades for you on Tuesday.
Good. It's about freaking time.
Well, I want to do it with G here. If G was here today, we would have done
my
it today.
trades?
What
that
about
I
me?
gave you
Because
last
I
week?
won't be here
What
because
about
I
him?
think that Darius Garland should be traded too.
Yeah.
I'll send them to Dustin. We'll have
Well,
Dustin
give us one
zoom
right
in.
now. Come on. Give us one right now.
You want one
Give us one of the 6 possibilities.
Do you want
right now.
a fun one?
No, give us something that might be
Here,
realistic.
Jason likes this one a lot more than I do.
Okay.
Would you trade Darius for Michael Porter Jr.?
Absolutely not.
I would say no in a heartbeat. Jason said he'd think about it.
I'd think about it.
All right, give me more on Michael Porter Jr. I feel like I don't have a good feel for him.
6'10", 3-point shooter with back issues. Plays no defense, gives you no rebounding. Doesn't pass, but great 3-point shooter.
A 6'10" guy who can't do anything besides shoot?
Yes. But great shooter.
Great shooter. What did he average a game this past year?
Like 17. Playing with
Is he
Jokic.
tough?
Non-existent.
No, he doesn't play any defense.
Championship pedigree.
does have a
Non-existent in the
championship pedigree.
playoffs.
What's that?
Like non-existent in the playoffs.
He was not. Why?
I
did
know.
he was-
Trust me, I know.
he was
I
bad
took a lot
this-
of his overs.
He was hurt in the playoffs this year. He was a big part of their championship team 2 years ago. He was much
Yeah.
better then.
Right.
But he's a 6'10" guy, shoots the living piss out the basketball,
Yeah.
doesn't do anything else.
Yeah,
With back injury.
all those
history.
Nuggets guys always look so impressive, don't they? They're like physically impressive.
Because they're long and they're
Yeah.
tall, they're athletic.
He was the #1 high school prospect coming
He's not
out.
tough. Is he tough?
He plays through injuries.
But he doesn't play.
But
How
doesn't,
does he
like,
play
he-
no defense at 6'2"? Who doesn't? I don't want that guy.
I
want a
would-
guy that plays defense and is physically tough.
Then Michael Porter Jr. is not your answer then.
That's not my answer. Why does Jason like that trade?
Because he's 6'10" and can shoot.
And he's a scorer.
Score.
Yeah.
Gives you more options.
In the end, I would do it though because I want Darius Garland off the roster.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
kind of the same way, and it's not has nothing to do with him personally. It's just that I don't think it's a good fit here. Didn't think it was going into this year. He happened to have a really good regular season. The Cavs, as a whole, they all played really well in the regular season. But boy, in the playoffs, I got to tell you, I don't like the fact that he missed the game with the 2 games with the toe. Like
4 games,
4
including
Four games.
the Miami. Whatever they were,
I don't know,
they were going to win that
I'm not
series.
thinking about that series. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about the most recent series
Yeah.
against the Pacers, a team that you struggled with all year, and you missed the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And then you play?
And then he played, and he didn't look 100%.
Up
but
and down.
No, I
Had
know,
his
but I
moments.
know,
But-
but he was out there and he was shooting the hell out of the basketball, which he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But the point is, all of a sudden, what happened?
And it was all pain tolerance the whole time.
Yes,
That was the thing.
that's-
It wasn't. There was no risk of re-aggravating the injury. It was.
Yeah.
I got a problem with all
It's
those guys
pain
not playing,
tolerance
dude.
stuff, yeah.
All those guys should have been playing.
I mean, I used to feel like I
Hunter,
can't criticize
Mobley,
the guy
all them
for-
cats should have been playing.
It just
Sorry.
seems like if I were in the playoffs, if I had that opportunity,
Cut
that
my
I'd
arm
play.
off. Whatever.
Let's go.
This is not the first round. You're not playing the freaking Hawks.
If anyone
Yeah.
hasn't heard it yet, go listen to the 11-minute clip from the Road Trippin' podcast with Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, and Kendrick Perkins talking
Yeah.
about this Cavs team. Anything that we have said,
Yeah.
G. Bush, Jason, Jay, the 3 of us, is, to steal a word from G, minimoski in
Yeah.
comparison to how those 3 discussed the level of toughness within the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And they talked about them not playing with the injuries.
Absolutely eviscerated them
And that's
for
the
not
thing.
playing.
And that's why I don't feel bad, because usually I'll feel bad being critical of somebody who doesn't play through an injury, because I'm like, well, I didn't play. I don't know how tough it is to play in that situation. I feel like if I were in good shape and I were young and I were an athlete, I'd play through anything. But I'm not in that situation. But when former players are saying, these guys are soft, they should play, that tells me all I need to know.
I'll make sure I tweet it out in case anyone hasn't seen it.
I saw some of it, but I didn't see the whole thing.
11 minutes. It's
I'm
worth your time.
I'll watch it.
I'll paraphrase real quick. Channing Frye said that he couldn't believe Jared Allen missed time last year with his little wibby injuries, is how he called them, little wibbies.
Yeah.
Which,
little
when you get
wibbies,
an
wubby
NBA
wibbies.
champion calling you out for that.
Calling him a baby, basically.
Tough. You had Richard Jefferson saying in game 2, when all 3 guys sat, he goes, all right, one of us has to go. We can't have all 3 of us sit, like, unless you're dying, who's the healthiest, you got to get in there. He said if, a puppy doesn't bark as a puppy, he ain't going to bark.
And that's it. And that's why they have to trade Darius and they have to trade Jarrett. And I get it, Mobley didn't play one game either, but I'm keeping him.
Yeah, you're not blowing up the entire
I'm keeping
thing.
Donovan Mitchell. I keep my 2 best players, and I got to shake up the rest of the team.
We need more guys like Donovan. Donovan
Yeah.
Donovan wouldn't miss a game.
No, Donovan.
Now, he did miss last year against Boston, but
No, I know, but
he must have not been
I
able to
believe the guy
possibly
probably
play.
couldn't walk.
Steph Curry missed 4 games with a
Right.
pulled hand.
He
No
must
one's
have not
questioning
been
Steph Curry
possible
stuff.
for him to
Yes.
play.
For Donovan not to play, he's really
Yes.
hurt. Like
Yeah.
he gets that benefit of the
I
doubt.
agree.
I'd be asking Donovan, like, dude, who you want to play with?
Well, that leads us right into the next topic, though, which is where we're getting to today. And we did discuss this on the Ultimate Cavs show this morning. But if the Cavs were to make some major shakeup and ship Darius Garland out for whoever, for the sake of today, let's say Michael Porter Jr., just because he doesn't play the point guard position.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Donovan could be your full-time point guard? Would you want? Is that a smart
why
move
not?
to put Donovan in that position for an 82-game season?
Yeah, why? I mean, you got to have a good backup so he doesn't have to play, 40 minutes a game as the point guard. But, I mean, I'm okay.
I guess what's the role of the point guard if it's going to be Donovan?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, would it change?
There's like 4 real.
He's not a traditional point guard.
There's 4 real point guards, 3 or 4. Like if you squint, you can find that 4th. But like Tyrese Halliburton's the only high-level point guard
Steve Urkel
in basketball who plays in the old traditional like point guard way, like pass first, facilitate. Almost everybody's a combo
like 14.
guard.
He had the perfect game last night.
15 assists, no turnovers for the 10th time in his career.
That's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
He had 29 and 9 in the first half. He was incredible.
What year was he
last
drafted?
night. The same year that Cavs took Okoro.
Didn't the Kings draft him?
Yes.
And what'd they trade him for?
Sabonis.
Good trade.
Nah.
Where was he drafted that year?
11th?
What year was this again? I'm
It
sorry.
was the COVID year. It was the COVID draft year. The Cavs took Okoro. Apparently, Halliburton said, "Don't draft me to Cleveland," because they already had Darius.
Mobley said the same thing.
I'm just telling you that's. But I think Donovan is more than capable of playing point guard. I don't think it's smart to make him your full-time point guard, and I'll explain why in a sec. But can he? Is the question. Can? Yes, 100% he can. But you go back to the Indiana series, right, Bull? When Darius was hobbled and not at the full capacity, and they didn't have DeAndre Hunter for spurts. Did you see how hard it was for Donovan to create for himself, rather less getting everyone else involved? The reason the Cavs offense in the regular season worked to I know you're going to throw
relevant.
Work to the level it is Kenny Atkinson believes you need 2 shot creators on the court at all time from the backcourt. Mobley counts, but he's a front court player. He's not the backcourt guy. Yeah. He believes you need 2 guys to get the ball into the crevices, get feet in the paint, cause a rotation, kick out. When they didn't have Darius, for better or worse, this isn't a Darius conversation, it was all on Donovan to do that by himself. And Indiana was able to send doubles. They were able to send help. They were able to force him into the spots they wanted him to get to. And I think that's part of the reason why his body broke down. So I just don't think moving him to the 1, unless you have another answer as a combo guard to put with him, would make sense for the Cavs.
But why can't they get another point guard in a different deal? Or
they can't. No, I'm just saying.
By the way,
in a vacuum here, does it make sense?
If you trade Darius for another very good player at a different position, and then you trade Jared Allen, essentially to get some cap relief and maybe some draft picks or whatever, and then you'll have some flexibility to make some other moves.
Yes. It takes two to tango on a lot of those things, and it's a lot of ifs,
sure.
and if this happens, then this happens.
I know, but that's what that's his job. I mean, what else has Kobe Altman doing?
I'm not saying it's
Are
wrong.
you guys happy with Kobe? I mean, we were praising the hell out of this guy.
I'm willing. Listen, I think overall he's done a good job.
Yeah,
he's put together a talented roster. But now
it was a ballsy move to bring everyone back, and it looked like it was going to pan out.
But now that it didn't in the playoffs again, I think it's imperative on him, and I'll give him. I think he deserves the chance to do it.
Yeah, you can't make moves right now anyway. So anyone saying this has to happen, it's not.
No, you can't do anything till
end of the year. New league.
When is that? End of June?
Yeah,
or early
July 1st to start a free agency.
right. He, I don't care what he said in the press conference. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's going to say what he has to say.
He's got to. He cannot. To me, it's a failure if he brings if Jared Allen and Darius Garland are both on this team next year. It's a failure. They have to have different guys in the mix. The same mix doesn't work because they don't have enough dogs on this team. I think that's very clear.
Yeah.
You're not. And I don't know if Evan Mobley's ever going to become a dog. And if he doesn't, ultimately, I don't think they're winning the championship. But you got to hope he does because he's their most talented guy besides Donovan and maybe their most talented guy, period. But your best chance of him becoming a dog, you got Donovan Mitchell, who
surround him with
surround him with guys that maybe even if they're less talented, but you need guys like that with some edge to their play. And they need to have a player. They need to have one guy that's like a badass on the court. They don't have any badasses.
Well, in a perfect world, take all the cap stuff out.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to ask you this. You okay?
Yeah.
Take all the cap stuff out. None of the second April, none of that matters.
Yeah.
If you could pair Evan and Donovan with a third star, who do you think, and you take anyone you want. Like, I'm serious, anyone you want.
Anyone?
Yeah, and then we'll pare it down to find, who do you think is the perfect third star with that?
The perfect?
Yeah.
I guess Giannis, right? Is he perfect?
He's got it.
He's certainly in the conversation. I think it's preference. Like, you can pick Jokic, and obviously he fits Giannis.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Halliburton.
Halliburton and Donovan in a backcourt together would be no joke.
Yeah.
Unstoppable. Because you wouldn't be able to stop either one of them at any given time to get to the basket. Double one of them. Okay, great.
Right.
That would be the ideal backcourt. And Tyrese is so damn unselfish.
Oh.
And the pace at which he plays. And so I was listening to Bill Simmons this morning with Zach Lowe. And Zach Lowe, I think he's
great.
He's the smartest non-basketball player I've ever found podcast. He knows the ins and outs so well. He was listing names of players who have taken a team by a stranglehold, basically, and forced everyone to play his style. Right? Like when he got to Indiana, they traded for him. They brought him in. In 2.5 years, they've completely revamped.
Right.
Remember Rick Carlisle when he won the championship with the Mavericks? They played slow. They played deliberate. They ran.
These games were in the 80s.
And obviously basketball's changed, but now they are the fastest team you could possibly imagine.
Right.
Why? Because that's what Tyrese Halliburton does better than any other player in basketball. And the Cavs, whether it's Donovan, whether it's Evan, whether they can turn Darius and Jared into something else, whether it's turning Max Strus and other pieces, they need to find what is our identity that you can't take us out of. What can we do that regardless of whether shots are falling or not? OKC, by the way, three-point percentage has dropped from 8th overall in the NBA in the regular season to the second worst three-point shooting team in the playoffs. They are one win away from a championship. Why? Because when push comes to shove, they're still the best damn defensive team we've seen in 20 years. What can the Cavs do with whatever the current iteration of the team is next year? Not what we had this year. What is next year? What can we establish that regardless of everything else, you can't take us out?
When the shots are not falling. And they weren't for the Cavs.
And with the Pacers, we're still going to run. We're still going to wear you out. We're going to give you tired legs by the end, and we're going to score in transition. For OKC, we're going to suffocate you defensively and turn defense into offense. The Cavs did not have that this year.
No.
None of it. They need to have it next year if they're going to take that
Who's
step.
the most realistic best third player they could get in a perfect world?
I mean, Giannis, in theory, is available. I asked you that question without an answer in my mind. So, Dustin, who do you think? And I'll get back to you in a second.
Realistic?
Yeah. Well, that makes it a much
I have
tricky
no
question.
idea. Man.
Yeah,
Honestly,
in terms of realistic, it's hard to come up with an answer off the top of your head. But What about
I'm the worst at these NBA things?
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
tricky.
salaries and who's
well, if we're ignoring
it's a pain. The salaries are such a pain.
Yeah, if you're doing it realistic, then you got to factor in the salaries.
I know.
It's such a pain in the ass.
I mean, you're the one with the six potential trades.
Who's the best player?
None of that's
it's realistic.
Who's the
No, they're all realistic, but it's not landing a player if we're saying who changes the complete trajectory.
Maybe
of the
nobody
franchise.
does. Maybe it's addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe turning Darius and Jarrett into 4 good, nice players is the way to go.
So Jason and I talked about this morning, actually. There hasn't been, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to get to it. In the history of the NBA, turning a star into pieces never works. The difference is now with the second apron and all these cap construction constraints, you may have to be able to fill out a roster that's deep enough to contend. Indiana has 2 players that are better than the rest of their team. But they're 3 through 8, 3 through 9.
They're just solid, good players.
On any given night,
yeah,
Neesmith could be their 3rd best player.
Right.
Nembhard could be their 3rd best player. Turner could be their 3rd best player. Matherin was awesome. He had 13 points in 11 minutes. Like, they're deep in a sense. OKC's the same way. They have
the
their top
Pacers
3.
have anybody make the top 3 All-NBA team?
Halliburton was an All-NBA 3rd team.
3rd team.
Yeah.
So they don't even have a top 10 player.
Technically, no. And I don't believe Halliburton's
Oklahoma City's got 1 top 10 player. It's not like these.
Yeah.
There's no super teams anymore, really.
No. Now we have to see, Indiana, this is the second year in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
We'll see if this is a 1-year blip with some weird things. Or if
Well, it's not a 1-year blip. It's a.
Well, they got swept in the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
That's true. Fair.
But is it a 1-year thing where they got incredibly lucky and hot? Is it sustainable? I don't know. And Jason replied when I asked him, hey, has it ever worked to trade a star into pieces? And the track record says no, but this is a different era of team building.
But wait a sec. Give me an example of that.
Like when the Nuggets traded Carmelo to the Knicks for Ronaldo Bachman, Ray Felton, Gallinari, and like turning that into pieces.
Well, but what did it do for the Knicks? They didn't win anything.
Nothing. I'm just saying, very rarely do you trade away a star or get pieces
I know, but
back.
weren't the Knicks the team that got Carmelo Anthony?
Yes.
So they didn't do anything either.
So no one won that trade.
Right. Okay, but give me the Darius Garland is not a superstar. He's an all-star.
You go to any star.
He's not a superstar.
Turning a star
and
into
Jarrett
pieces.
Allen is not even. I mean, he's.
What's Darius Garland if he goes somewhere else? I mean, is he still an all-star?
Yeah, right. The NBA. It's all
he's not an all-star on a bad team.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
LaMelo, he's going to put up LaMelo Ball numbers on a bad team.
You think he's going to be that good statistically? As good as LaMelo?
Yeah. I mean, he averaged 20 and 7 here as the 2.5 option. If he's the number 1 option, he could average 25 and 8, 25 and 9.
Yeah, but maybe the defense is more focused on him, and he's so tiny.
But no one plays defense.
He'll shoot 6 more threes again.
Yeah.
The point
you
is,
see what I'm saying? Like it's opportunity.
But what are the trades you said? Jason said the star for the role players doesn't work. Well, what's the example if it didn't work? I
just gave you one.
But it didn't work for either team.
That's the point.
One example from like 20 years ago. I mean, what's more?
Because it doesn't happen.
You want to talk about the Kevin Durant trade? I mean, like.
Yeah, but you want the Durant trade?
The Paul George trade worked for Oklahoma City.
But that was a prospect in like 70 picks as opposed to pieces. You're not trying to get picks here. You're trying to get role players.
Give me an example where it didn't work.
I'm telling you, it doesn't happen. That's what I'm saying.
So you can't say it doesn't work if it doesn't happen.
I didn't say it doesn't work. I said there's no track record of it working because it doesn't happen.
So
you see what I'm saying, Doug?
There's no track record of it not working either.
There are trades.
What I'm saying is, I think that's best for the Cavs.
And what we're saying is there's a new era of basketball where you may have to do that.
Yes.
So because of it not happening before doesn't mean it can't happen in the future.
The reason we're going to probably see an Indiana Oklahoma City final is because not because of the level of superstardom on those teams, it's because they have depth of good players. Both of those teams have good depth of good players, contributors.
Yeah.
Who are not, like, the Cavs' depth that we thought they had is garbage.
I don't think
those guys couldn't.
I don't think you were on the day I was on because Jay Crawford was sitting in that seat. So he haven't worked with Jay in a while. But he was like, what do you think we've learned from the 8 finalists? And I was like, they all have playoff depth. Mm-hmm. The Cavs don't have playoff depth.
No.
They have 4.5 guys I think you can trust in a playoff series. 4.5. OKC, Minnesota, Indiana, and even the Knicks have at least 6. at least 6 and then some more depending on what team you're looking
I'd say Indiana has 8.
Well, I said at least 6.
Yeah.
The Knicks are the one with 6. Everyone else
Right.
has at least one more than that. So
I'd like a Josh Hart on this team.
Josh Hart would be awesome.
Imagine
He
you
does-
had
does it
Halliburton and Josh Hart.
You can do that. Sign me
know.
up. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
All right, Anthony. Enough of this depressing Cavs talk. Let's go.
Well, we're going to go back to football here after you tell us about Menu RX Bowl.
Yeah, Menu RX is great if you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to get in better shape, if you're looking to get stronger, if you're looking to just know what food plan and what foods work best with your body. Don't turn to fads on the internet. Turn to science. Turn to doctors, nutritionists, scientists, people who study this for a living. Go to menu-rx.com. Get a free consultation. This may be covered by your medical insurance. You can use HSA or FSA spending accounts. Tell my guy, Dr. Jake May, Adam the Bull sent you. And if you sign up for any plan at menu-rx.com, you'll get a free 1-year membership to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show to see all our overtime content absolutely free. It's a $60 value for the year. So go to menu-rx.com today. That's menu-rx.com.
Got a little bit of breaking news.
What do we got?
Joe Flacco got the first team reps in the first 11 on 11.
Oh.
Kenny Pickett was in second.
Oh.
Controversy.
Joe Flacco, projected starter.
A reporter off.
Wow.
In offense-only drills, Pickett first, Gabriel second, Flacco third, Sanders fourth.
Oh, boy.
And then in the official 11 on 11.
The official. Is there an official 11 on 11?
I'm reading reports
Okay.
from Daniel Oyefusi and Mary Kay Cabot.
Okay.
Flacco got the first 11 on 11 reps. He connected up with a beautiful deep ball to Jerry Jeudy. And then Kenny Pickett was up second. So stay tuned.
Oh, boy. This is but this is what we get. I mean, we're all obsessed with football, so now we have this insanity. All right, Anthony, after that breaking news.
And DeJuan Jones is at practice at left tackle.
I actually like that. That's a positive development. The fact that DeJuan Jones, who's obviously dealt with a lot of injuries his first 2 years in the league, is at OTAs and, practicing as much as an offensive lineman can practice with no pads, that's a real positive, don't you think?
What's he looking like?
I got a text from someone who's there and says DeJuan looks like he's in incredible shape.
That's awesome. Well,
Terrific shape.
When he got mad at my comments last year about the weight, he talked about
He says he's going to lose weight.
and I was rooting for him, and I hope that's true. Because, listen, that guy's always going to be big. I mean, he's just a monster.
Yeah.
But, he wants to get down to probably 320, 330, or even 340 maybe at his size,
350,
as opposed to being
6'8".
400. Like, he was probably close to 400 pounds. I don't care. Fat guys know fat guys. Like, he was, at one point they were saying he was 350, 360. I'm like, that guy ain't 350, 360. He's 6'8", 6'9".
I mean, Jason told us on here he was up to 415 at one point.
Yeah, right. He was clearly over 400 pounds. So, like, he can't play at that size, but maybe even 350 he can play at. I don't know.
I think 350 is very
But
very
if he gets somewhere in that range, man, I mean, there's no limit to how good that guy can be if he's healthy. I don't think anybody's denying that there's great talent there.
No.
The only reason he was drafted late probably is because of his weight.
Yeah, there were concerns about work ethic and things like that. Like, I mean, the guy's very raw. He's very talented. He was still a fourth-round pick, by the way.
Right. Right.
So
you heard that he's in good shape.
Someone there texted me something else and said, by the way, DeJuan looks like he's in terrific shape.
Fantastic. I wish I could say
news.
that. I've kind of lost my plan here recently.
Damn it, Adam.
Yeah. But we'll be all right. But DeJuan, man, good for you. I can't wait to see him, and I'm really rooting for him. I want him to do well, and I'm hoping. I mean, because I think he could be. A Pro Bowl caliber player if he stays healthy and he stays in shape. I think there's that much talent there. Okay, so what's this? Who made this ranking? This AFC North ranking?
Our favorite people, PFF.
PFF.
So PFF ranked the different divisions in the NFL, and they have the AFC North traditionally first or second in the league as the fourth division. Interesting. Who do they have? Let's see. NFC North, AFC West, NFC West, and then the AFC North. The AFC West. So you got the Chiefs. You got to put the Chiefs ahead of the Ravens by a little bit because they've consistently beaten them when it matters. Who's the second best team in the West? You got
Chargers and Broncos.
The Chargers, and who do you guys think is the second best team in the North? I mean, the Steelers were the second best team last year. I think the Bengals. Who do you think, Dustin?
Ravens, Bengals.
Okay.
Too, yeah.
I think the Bengals are better than the Chargers. I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. So what do you think? Bengals versus Chargers?
I would take the Bengals, but it's close.
Very close.
I think it's close.
Depends on where we're playing.
Okay, so there you go. So the third team, you go Pittsburgh against Denver. To me, that's a wash. I don't know
who the quarterback.
Although I don't know, you're fair.
Right. Denver's definitely the better team.
Yes.
I don't know that I agree with that.
I think today with Mason Rudolph as quarterback, I think Denver's definitely better.
Mason Rudolph's not going to be their quarterback.
If Aaron Rodgers, I think it's close.
I'd still take Bo Nix over Aaron Rodgers.
But if
I don't love Bo Nix.
They don't have a quarterback on their roster. How do you?
They haven't had a quarterback in like 5 years. They win 9 games every year.
You saw Bo Nix, dude.
I know, but I think there's going to be a Bo Nix regression this year.
Join the club.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Okay. I mean, it's not uncommon for a rookie to have a regression the second year.
I understand, but I really there's something about him that I not just his game.
Yeah.
But I really watched a lot of his interviews last year. I think this kid's like really gets it, like as a leader and is smart. Like I think he's going to be a really good player.
I guess we'll see. I mean, if he progresses, then you'll be right, and the Broncos will be better than the Steelers.
He's got Sean Payton. I mean, as much as you don't like Sean Payton because he's kind of a weirdo, like he's a hell of a coach. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, he's had some issues.
He rubs people the wrong way.
Yes,
I don't love their skill position players. I know who
you don't like Cortland Sutton.
I think he's just okay.
He's good, but like, who else do they have outside?
Who's their starting running back? They drafted
somebody.
RJ Harvey at a UCF.
Yes. Yeah. He'll be good.
I mean, okay, we'll see. I mean,
some people are thinking he's going to be like look out.
Look really good.
Could be one of the better running backs as rookies. Yeah.
I guess you're biased on this one, Anthony, because you're a Broncos fan.
Yeah, we got into a whole argument on it Friday.
On Friday, it was the Bryce Nix versus Bo Nix, or
Bryce Young versus Bo Nix. Yeah, I happen to be I'm probably in the minority. I like Bryce Young a lot.
Me too.
I think he's going to be really good. The second half of last year, he was great, and no recent quarterback has gone into a worse situation than that guy.
We don't have to rehash this whole
argument. And for him to come through it the way he did in the second half of last year was impressive. We'll leave it there. And then the fourth place team.
It's the Raiders and the Browns.
I got to give the Raiders the edge there.
So when I saw this list, Dan, we pull up the top 4 again?
Listen, it's close.
Yeah. Well, I had, we did the whole discussion last year. Could the AFC North be the best division ever, right? Like
last year
going into it.
And
obviously it didn't pan out to be. The Browns, according to any sportsbook you look at, have the lowest projected win total for 2025.
Yeah, they're tied with the Giants or whatever.
You can't have the best division of football when one of the 4 teams.
Well, I don't think anybody thinks it's the best division anymore. The question is, should it be 4th?
Well, based off some of the comments we had on our YouTube poll with this earlier, a lot of people still believe it's the best division of football.
It's not. It can't be.
I think the North and the West are clearly 1 and 2 in some order. I have the AFC North third. I do think it's better than the NFC West. But I'd have the
NFC
North.
West, you got the Rams, solid team. Niners, I don't know about the Niners. They had a bad year last year. I'm not a big Brock Purdy guy. I think he's, solid, but I don't think he's great.
The Seahawks.
McCaffrey's getting old. Seattle, they got Sam Darnold.
So who knows?
You think Sam Darnold's going to have another good season? Are you a believer?
He'd have a better year if they had DK Metcalf.
Yeah, so they got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Who else they got at wide receiver? They let Lockett go,
did they draft somebody?
They must have.
I'm pretty sure they drafted a top receiver.
Lockett's gone too, isn't he?
I believe
he's older, but
let me get to our lads. Hang on.
All right, get to our lads. Let's see what we got for their depth chart. They got a good running game. They got that nice backfield there. They got 2 good players.
Cup.
What's that? Cooper
They
Kupp.
have Cooper Kupp.
Oh, they got Cooper
and Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
All right. Now the question is, what does Cooper Kupp have left in the tank?
Who knows?
He's been injured the last couple of years.
And then you have Arizona, who's a giant question mark. So I don't love any of those teams.
The AFC, I think now again, if I'm biased, tell me. I think the Ravens, definitely the Ravens, and I think the Bengals are better than any of the teams in the NFC North.
I would agree with you, which is why I think I'd like those two to be flipped.
Right. I would put the AFC
rankings.
North third. I think everybody's assumption is that the Niners are going to bounce back into a Super Bowl contender again.
I'm not buying
and they might, but I'm not personally convinced of that. McCaffrey's getting old. He's
Trent
been
Williams
injury prone.
is old. Like a lot of their good players are past like the physical. They can still
who's
be
their
awesome.
starting wide receivers right now?
Ayuk coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah, is he going to be ready to go?
Ricky Pearsall, who was a first-round pick they drafted last year.
They have, what's his name, Jennings.
Juwan Jennings.
He had a nice year last year.
They have talent.
Kittle's getting old, and he's injury prone. I don't know. Yeah, I would put the AFC North third.
So I have them third. And then
yeah.
NFC
What's the
West.
bottom four? Do we have the bottom four there? Yeah, the AFC South sucks. And so does they got the NFC South ahead of the AFC East. The South divisions have been 7 and 8 for so many years. Is the NFC South better than the AFC East?
I think it depends on.
The Bills.
Are you buying the Patriots hype? Because if you're buying the Patriots hype,
dude, they got Vrabel. They're going to be better.
I
agree with
Dustin.
like Drake May. I like Vrabel.
I think the hype is too much, but I agree. They're not going to be in the scrub group anymore next year.
No, Vrabel will get the most out of that team, dude.
They'll finish I see them finishing 7 and 10, and on the rise.
They'll be in the hunt.
Yeah, they won't make the playoffs. The AFC's too tough. To me, the AFC East is definitely better. First of all, the Bills are way better than anybody in the NFC South. Who the hell is the best team? It's the Buccaneers.
I'm with you. I was just saying.
The Bills are a million times better than the Buccaneers. And again, all due credit to Baker. I'll tell you something else to credit Baker. If he has another good year this year, like he has the last couple of years, then he might end up being I still don't believe you can win a Super Bowl with him. Well, let me rephrase that. I think the team's got to be almost perfect around him. But when he was here, I thought he was below the line where you could win a Super Bowl. He does it one more year. I'm going to say he's now not in the top group, of course, but in that group where if the team's excellent around him, you got a shot. Now, ultimately, he still, even last year with a great year, throws too many picks in big spots, and that's going to kill him.
Well, there's a reason why people compared him to kind of like Brett Favre, he's a bit of a gunslinger. You're going to take the picks with the touchdowns, and he puts up big numbers. I don't think the team has to be perfect around Baker. I think that you're still selling him a little short on his ability. I think that they can get a little bit better skill position-wise on offense, and if they can get better defensively to stop some teams.
We saw him.
They had Mike Evans and Chris
Mike
Godwin.
Evans is 97 years old.
He's still great, though.
He is great.
It's amazing.
Godwin was out for half
Godwin
the year,
did miss the season, but they got what's his name? That rookie running back was very good. Bucky Irving.
They got skill position talent.
Yeah,
for sure.
but yes, they did draft Ibuka, and so he's going to be the heir apparent eventually. It's kind of like a Jackson Smith and Jigba situation. You drafted him to a team that had two good veteran wide receivers.
Cycle through.
Yeah, listen, if Baker has another good year, I'll give him that. Now, he's had the advantage, to be fair, and I'm giving him all due credit, that's been a very bad division. Yeah. He's taken advantage of the bad schedule.
And this year, he just lost his offensive coordinator that he had clearly clicked
that'll
with.
Be interesting.
Liam Cohen went to Jacksonville, and he had talked about how Liam not reignited it, but...
Do you think Baker Mayfield has a better chance of winning a Super Bowl than Dak Prescott?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Yes.
I got to take my biases out of this.
Yes.
I would say by a little bit. Mm-hmm. I would. My opinion, neither one will win. But if I had to pick, I'd pick the Bucs.
Well, and the Bucs don't play in the Eagles division.
That's right. Or Washington, who's now right there.
True.
The rest of that division, the Saints are horrible.
Yeah. The Falcons would be okay.
They're okay. It depends
on
what Michael Penix is. We haven't seen him play enough.
Look out.
If Bryce Young plays this year, like the way he played the second half, I think the Panthers could be a surprise team.
I think he's frisky. Yeah, I do too.
So that division's improving, but I'm still going. The Bills are just so much better than any team in that division.
And also, the Dolphins don't suck. They may not be great.
The Dolphins are
they're fine.
To me, the Dolphins are as good as the Bucs.
Yeah.
I'd say
as good as Tagovailoa being on the field.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you have the Jets, who new head coach Justin Fields. How do you view Justin Fields? But I'm surprised they.
Okay, so you have. If you say the Jets are the worst team, you think the Jets are the worst team
in the East?
Yeah, I do.
I think they'll be better than the Patriots.
Okay, so
the Jets are better than the Patriots.
I think the Patriots are better than the Saints. Right? The Saints are going to be horrible.
For sure.
They could be the worst team in the league.
Absolutely.
And then you have who's the second place? Who do you think finishes in second in that division? Panthers or Falcons?
Oh man,
I'll stick with the Panthers.
I'm going to go Panthers.
I'll say Falcons.
All right. So let's say we're 2-1. So we'll say Panthers finish second. Panthers versus the Dolphins. Who you got?
Dolphins.
I think I got the Dolphins. I'm with you.
It's close,
And then
the
the third place team is the Falcons against the Jets. I would give edge Falcons in that one for me. But overall, I think the AFC East is better. So I'd flip those two. But whatever. I can't wait. You know what? As much as I love baseball, you guys know how much I love baseball, and I'm going to watch. I can't wait for another football season to start.
It's the best.
It's the best. It's the best fantasy sport. It's the best real sport. I just cannot wait. And we still got obviously a while to go, but hey,
we're literally
before you know it, training camp will be here.
Day 2 of OTAs Bowl. Voluntary OTAs.
We're excited.
So far
because guys, we haven't talked about real football since the draft.
Yeah.
It's been a month, literally,
and it's
a month.
And it's the shortest season, in terms of the actual games. Obviously, we talk football year round because there's always some storyline.
There's so much emphasis. Every game matters so much, man.
And it's just there's football just gives you more storylines than any other sport. There's just so much drama and so much excitement.
And this year with the quarterbacks,
with
the uncertainty moving forward, with all the young players that we have a chance to look at, Judkins, Sampson, Schlesinger, Fannin, Mason Graham, all these guys.
Yeah.
On a game-to-game basis, we're going to be looking at the improvements from week 2 to week 3.
Yeah.
What did Mason Graham do against who they play in week 3? Is it the Packers in week 3 or the Lions in week 3? The Packers in week 3 that he didn't do against the Lions. And how does he get back to it against Minnesota? And we'll see Judkins, and how does the offensive line come together to open up holes? And are they pass play? So many things to look forward to this year that we just hadn't had the opportunity to in the last 2 seasons.
By the way, and Dustin will be excited about this, in one of my dynasty, you know what dynasty fantasy football is?
You keep players for the next season.
Forever.
Oh, forever?
Yep.
Forever.
Unless you trade them or cut them.
Okay.
I made a blockbuster trade in which I acquired Travis Hunter.
What did you give up?
I can't remember. Why don't you guys kill time for a second? And you'll
kill time?
I'm curious what you guys think.
What you tell the world that doesn't care about your
I know that, but some people care.
Nobody cares.
Contrary to popular belief, there is like 7% of people that care about these things.
I'm with Dustin on the fantasy football hate, but I think that's because I'm just bad at it.
No one wants to care. No one cares about anyone else's fantasy
football.
Well,
no. There's 7% that care. That are like
way lower than that.
Football nerds.
I think it's like 2.5%.
Way lower. Yeah. I think only Robert cares.
Who?
Nothing.
Go ahead. You guys got to kill time for a second.
No, that was an old Bull and Fox reference.
Well, what did you say? Oh, Robert Dark Satan?
Yeah. He cares about everything.
He definitely cares.
I'm familiar with Robert Dark Satan.
You are?
Yeah.
He's a big fan. He's a P1.
Is he? I don't know if he's watching this show. I haven't seen like a tweet from him for a while.
No, he's locked into 92.3 The Fan.
Sticks to the afternoon drive.
Yeah.
So I actually just made a trade over the weekend. And I traded
We're
Garrett
killing
Wilson.
this much time for your effing fantasy football team?
Former Buckeye Garrett Wilson. I traded him for T. Higgins and Marvin Mims. I think that was a steal on my part, but whatever. But I got to find that. Here we go. Here's the trade.
Do you want a drum roll?
That's not it.
Steve, get the breaking news stinger ready, please, for this trade.
We gotta get the trade news if I can find it. Here it was. I traded. Here is a blockbuster 7-player trade. I traded. Now remember, it's dynasty, so you got to factor in age of guys into their value.
Could not have forgot.
Could not have forgotten. And one other thing to keep in mind is that tight ends. You know how in fantasy football you get a point per reception in most leagues?
They get 1 point half.
Tight ends get 2 points per reception, so a good tight end is worth a lot. I traded Tony Pollard.
Washed.
Sam Darnold, who was my third quarterback.
Okay.
That was risky because I've left myself with only 2 starting quarterbacks right now, but risky. A Cole Kmet, garbage.
Okay.
And Jawan Jennings.
It's okay.
Okay player. I acquired Travis Hunter, Isaiah Likely, and a second-round pick in the 2026 draft. I think that was a pretty good trade by me.
Build this man a statue, Dustin.
Build me a statue, will you?
Mike, give the trophy to him again.
Hey, listen, just because I have dominated the UCSS Fantasy League, winning 2 out of 3 championships.
I'm going on record right now. I am not playing this season.
You're not? You're out?
Well, you tried retiring last year, and you forced me back in. I'm done.
Who are we going to replace Anthony with?
Not me. Off the air.
You could replace me with a potato. It would be give.
Let's replace him with a potato, and we'll see if that potato does better. All right, what do you got, Anthony?
All right, guys, we're going to go and talk about a little bit of Hard Knocks after this.
It's
Quick message from Buckeye State Credit Union. If you haven't heard of them yet, meet your new favorite financial partner. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local institution offering everything from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans with some of the lowest rates in Northeast Ohio. Their Cleveland branch is in Shaker Heights, which is one of 5 locations in the state, making it easy to find one near you. And if you can't get to a branch, it's not a problem at all. They make banking simple through their digital banking services. What sets them apart? They make banking personal and convenient, and at Buckeye, their focus is you. Their core values, connect, simply, adapt, guide everything that they do. They bring people together, they cut through the clutter, and they're innovative. If you want to learn more, go visit buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified.
All right, there you go. So I know fantasy football is not that interesting, but apparently talking about who's going to be on Hard Knocks is way more interesting.
Well, I figured we had Dustin on today.
Yeah.
And they picked the Bills for Hard Knocks.
Well,
What do you think about that?
Come on, Adam. We're
You
talking
excited?
about your fantasy football team versus Hard Knocks, which a
I
lot
think-
of viewers watch.
I think our fans care more about my fantasy football team than they do about
I think
the
our
Bills.
fans
the
care
poll
more
up.
about
Put the poll
Aaron
up.
the Bulls' home runs and
That's
baseball
true.
stats than they care about your
That's true.
effing fantasy.
Are you
football
excited
team.
about the Bills being on Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
Or do you not really care?
No, I am. because I love the Bills. I love Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And I love seeing my son happy, and so it'll be great for him to watch with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
I just think Hard Knocks has gone downhill because the NFL, the teams have too much say over what gets out there now. I feel like it's less real now. It feels more like a reality show.
I think it's always been a reality show, honestly.
You're right. You're right, but
it's the closest thing. I think it's the closest thing to a real reality show because they can't change. I mean, it's real.
They
football.
can't change the
well,
football.
the actual reality shows are not real at all. They're all like crap. But you know what I'm more excited about? Remember that show Quarterback that they had on Netflix?
It's coming back for season 2.
It's coming back for season 2. Burrow's on it. I think they're bringing Cousins back on it again.
Yep, Cousins. Back.
I didn't watch it.
It was good.
Really?
You know why? I think there's too much access, too much to watch. Like Hard Knocks was great.
Yeah.
Then they had Hard Knocks AFC North,
Yeah.
and then Hard Knocks. I
Off-season.
feel like Hard Knocks off season. Hard Knocks in season. Oh, there's this on Amazon. It's just the follows the Dolphins around.
Yeah.
Or this on this, and it's like, oh, there's a show called Receiver. It's like,
Well,
man.
So you didn't watch the Quarterback one?
Nope.
Or I actually
one episode.
I didn't. I thought the Quarterback one was awesome, and it was what was it the first year? Cousins, Goff,
It was
and
Mariota.
Mariota.
Not Goff. Cousins, Mahomes, Mariota.
Oh, right, that's right. I think this year it's Burrow,
Goff's on this year.
Goff, and Cousins.
Goff's
right?
been on Hard Knocks before.
Right. Yeah, I think maybe twice.
Rams
Twice, yeah.
and Lions.
I'm interested selfishly for Burrow, but I really liked that first show. I didn't watch the receiver one.
Receiver one
though.
wasn't nearly as good.
Yeah.
Wasn't nearly as good.
Who was on that? Was Chase on there? No. No, it was Kittle, even though he's not a
It
receiver.
was Kittle, Debo, Justin Jefferson.
And it was no, it wasn't Chase. It was Mike Evans.
Devontae Adams.
Oh, Devontae Adams.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't.
I don't know. I think it's also better when you've got a Hard Knocks with a team that's really good, as opposed to like a team that's kind of like when the Browns are on. The Browns weren't going to be good.
But that was a fun season with Hugh Jackson.
Sure, for us.
Yeah, right.
Well, and for everybody because it was just a shit show.
Yeah.
But in terms of like going, imagine if they had the Chiefs on or the Eagles last year.
Right.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah. Well, the AFC North one was okay, but it was.
If they're going to do it, they have to dive into a team. Like sporadically going from Cleveland to Cincinnati to Pittsburgh to Baltimore last year for the in-division one, it didn't do anything for me.
And they just,
there
again,
was, like,
to
one
the point
episode
of that the
where one
NFL
team-
is. What was that, Anthony?
I was going to say, there was one episode where I think there was a shot of Miles Garrett, and they're like, yeah, we covered all 4 teams.
Yeah,
It was
well,
like
because the
episode
Browns
2.
were so bad,
they were
but
out of it, yeah.
what they didn't cover the Deshaun Watson thing at all. I don't know. I just thought, the Browns weren't worth talking about at that point last year, except for when there were more things about Watson, and they just ignored that storyline. So
The preseason or training camp, whatever you want to call it, version of Hard Knocks is when Hard Knocks is at its best. Like that's where it was created. That's what it was created for. There are more football-related and not football-related issues that they are willing to dive into during that because it's training camp, because there's so many other guys who kind of want the attention, right? Like that part of the Hard Knocks is, and I hope Josh Allen's featured heavily because I think Josh Allen's awesome in these situations. He doesn't need any extra coverage.
Yeah, he of course will be featured heavily.
But they could turn some of that stuff down.
Yeah.
And the team now has the ability to say, we don't want you to talk about this. We're not going to give final approval to put it out, which went back to the whole Deshaun Watson situation here last year.
Yeah.
I hope Josh Allen's involved. They just signed Joey Bosa. There's a whole James Cook holdout. I don't know. Holdout's not the right word at this point, but he wasn't at OTAs yesterday because he wants a new contract. Like, there are storylines in a contender that'll be interesting to see play out.
Sean McDermott, is he on the hot seat?
It's a good point. Yeah. Like if the Bills have
I think so.
Yeah, he could be.
I mean,
they had
arguably the best quarterback in football, one of the best quarterbacks in football.
Won the MVP last year.
And they haven't gotten to a Super Bowl.
And they have not gotten to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, there's obvious reasons why.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what, the Kansas City Chiefs last year, I mean, I think the Bills give the Eagles a better game.
Well, they can't give a worse game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can't do any
They
worse.
literally can't do
The
worse.
point is, you lost to the Chiefs, and look, they were a no-show in the Super Bowl.
Right. Last year was the year you should have beaten the Chiefs. But,
Very disappointing.
but
we got the technology in the ball now.
Yeah. That is great. I love that.
Me
that
too.
we're going to be able to no more chain gang. Well, the chain gang's there as
They're
a
still
backup.
there.
It still exists, but
Yeah.
But it's like how in some of these tennis tournaments they still have the on-court umpires, but they use the Hawkeye.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like a backup.
So which is great. The NFL needed that. There was no reason why. You know, we're pulling out chains to.
No. This is 2025.
Right.
I mean, we got cars driving themselves, and yet we got these guys on the sidelines guessing where the ball is spotted. Come on.
And like replay is valuable, but not on those plays because it's like half time you can't even see where the ball is. So there's got to be the technology in the ball. Hopefully they've perfected it. I assume
it's crazy to see a ref when a guy is stopped short or whatever, and then he gets the ball and then he moves it. And he just literally guesses where he puts the.
Exactly.
We have the ability and the technology to do it.
It's silly. And hopefully it'll be flawless, but we'll see.
I always find it funny to that point, Dustin. There are no short of 300 cameras on the football field at any given time, from the sky cams to the robo cams to the Hawkeye. And then we have a 65-year-old guy trying to walk in a straight line from the one hash to the middle of the field without moving an inch to the left or the right to change the distance.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've been watching this Karen Reed retrial, as I'm obsessed with it.
Who?
This what?
Karen Reed, the case in Boston.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
With the Boston cop that was killed. They don't know who killed it. It's a big. It's a retrial. It's a mistrial. It's only the biggest story in the news outside of.
I'm trying not to pay attention.
You got Diddy and you got Karen Reed right now. There's two crazy trials. Anyway, they had this guy doing this reconstruction of the car and the accident, and they had like a million different sensors and all these. It's like they got the technology to piece these things together.
Yes.
We can put one in a football.
That's right.
Yes.
That's good. They need to do a better job with replay also in terms of like. There are a number of plays every game where everybody watching at home knows the right call and they get it wrong, and that shouldn't happen. But I don't know if they're going that far. But
every episode of Severance, but you don't know who Karen Reed is?
The world is a shit place right now. I want things to get away from. I don't want to follow the news. It's all miserable, sad stuff, and it leads to me getting into fights with people on Twitter.
This has nothing to do with politics.
You may have noticed. It's not just politics, it's the whole world right now. You may have noticed that I don't tweet about politics or the news at all anymore.
You tweet way less than you used to, just in
I
general.
stay away from it. I don't want to know. I've kind of been burying my head in the sand. I don't want to hear about any of it.
The world's great when you bury your head in the sand.
I want to hear just positive news stories. And there's not a lot out there.
Social media is nothing's positive on social media.
Social media sucks.
Dude, just look around you. The world's great.
I just try to focus on sports and television shows,
it's great.
and it's nice, and good stories. I did see this very nice story about. Anyway, it's kind of boring, but it's a nice story. Nice stories.
Is it as boring as your fantasy football team?
It may actually be more boring. It's close. It's debatable.
Well, real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
One of my questions was would this have been the year though for the Browns to get Hard Knocks with a 4 quarterback battle?
Do we need one more distraction?
Yeah.
Why not, right?
It would have been fun for us to have it. I'm curious.
Stefanski says literally nothing.
Neither does Barry.
It would be
No,
boring.
I know, but I feel like they would be so conservative
Yeah.
in how they handled every facet of it. I feel like even though there would be a ton of storylines we think we'd want to see.
Yeah.
We would get nothing of substance in
That's
return.
true. With Hugh Jackson, we got so much, sports talk gold from Hugh Jackson with him driving the bus. So that was before your time. But like that, remember when he said that? I'm driving the bus.
I'm driving the bus, yeah.
I mean, that was just, we did a whole Hard Knocks segment every week.
Oh, for real?
We did like an hour of the show on Hard Knocks when he was
whole 6
on
o'clock
there.
hour.
Because he was, he would just
crazy.
say all kinds of crazy shit. Remember when he congratulated Baker on being named the number 2 quarterback? Like, that was...
Who was the coach with the big stomach that kept going?
Bob Wiley.
Bob Wiley, yeah.
Good pull.
I watched that. It was a great season. That was like the peak of that and Rex Ryan on the Jets.
Oh, that was funny.
The
too.
two
Storm
peak-
Normandy with push-ups and sit-ups.
When Hard Knocks first started also, it was like seeing the guys get cut was sad, but it was interesting. And now we've seen it so many times, to me it's just sad now. I'm sick of seeing that.
We all know it happens. It's terrible.
Right, we've seen it
It
so
gives
many
me
times.
PTSD.
They always find, every year there's always a random white dude who's got a good personality, who's a long shot to make the roster. Often he has the long hair.
You guys, if the Browns were on Hard Knocks this year, the player, and I'll tell you, Luke Flores is going to be the guy.
Kent State.
Going to be the guy.
That's the Kent State kid?
What position does he play?
Receiver. He's awesome, dude. I mean, I covered him for 4 years.
Yeah.
Or 3 years.
Yeah.
Great player.
He'd be the guy.
I mean, he was undrafted, but he's going to be your white guy that makes every play in the preseason. If you're betting on the preseason props, take that dude's props.
Yeah, well, he'll get a chance to play
He'll be Shedeur Sanders' favorite target.
And they're going to throw the ball a lot in the preseason. It ain't going to be a handed up the middle cloud of dust. They're going to see what Dylan and
I don't need
Shedeur
to see
have.
Judkins play in the preseason.
We're gonna have Kent State and Bowling Green touchdowns on.
Well, who's the Bowling Green?
Fannin.
Oh, Fannin. Yeah, that's right. I was thinking wide receiver. But. All right, Anthony, what do we got for Super Chats?
So we only have one Super Chat, but real quick, I put a poll up. And in first place, Hard Knocks came in with most interesting at 47%. Coming in at second place is me and G talking about Pokemon. And then in third place, with 16%, is your fantasy football team.
First of all, it's shock. Didn't I say 15%?
Yeah, around there.
He said 7%.
Oh, so it was even more. But
How many votes?
Oh, hold on, let me go look.
116.
Come on.
This is like when Halliburton was named the most overrated player with
even
12
Dustin
votes.
would rather hear about
142
my
votes.
fantasy team than a Pokemon conversation, wouldn't you?
100%.
Yeah.
All right, well,
At least it's football adjacent, as opposed to Pokemon.
Indeed.
Hey, G makes the analogies. I run with it.
G is
right?
funny.
That's how
I'll
it
give him
works.
that. He's funny with the analogies, but most of us don't know what the hell he's talking about. But they're funny.
I'm the only one usually who knows.
He
what
had
he's
that
talking
Dragon
about.
Ball Z analogy
Yeah.
a couple of months ago that he pulled out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That Jay was sitting there and nodding his head like he knew what was going on and had no idea. And that clip got clipped by someone. People can clip clips from a show now and just put it on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Someone put it on Twitter and tagged Dragon Ball Z, and that clip, it didn't go stupid viral like the DeMar Hamlin G. Bush rant did.
Yeah.
That was 500,000 views from Dragon Ball Z community.
That's funny.
That knew exactly what you was talking about. To this day, I still have no clue.
Speaking of which, I was on Instagram whenever, and I'm scrolling through, and there was this video that had. Sometimes I'll watch videos about Larry Bird trash talking because I find that a lot of the stories interesting, right?
They're great.
And there's this one compilation video of Larry Bird trash talking stories, and it had 1 million views. And I put it on.
We're in that.
The first sound I hear is my voice.
We're in that clip. Yeah, I've seen that one too.
Who are we talking to? I asked somebody.
Brandon Terrell.
No, was that no?
Terrell Brandon?
Terrell Brandon, sorry.
Is that who it was?
I think so.
I asked somebody who was the biggest trash talker, and they talked about Larry Bird. And the first thing in this clip with 1 million is my voice. Not we don't get referenced, but it was from this show, my voice. And I'm like, holy cow, look at this. And it was a compilation of stories about Larry Bird trash talk.
Was it Mark Price?
I don't remember now. I can't.
It wasn't Brad.
No, it wasn't Brad. I don't know. But obviously.
We haven't had many old Cavs on.
Have you heard the stories from Chris Webber from the Dream Team trash talk?
Yeah.
Because they played against the college All-Stars.
I've seen a lot of those, yeah.
And I mean, there's some hilarious stories about Larry Bird trash talk.
The best Larry Bird trash talk story is where he told, I think it was Detlef Schrempf, he was going to just cook him left-handed, and then just proceeded to cook him left-handed.
Yeah.
And then for the last shot of the game, he pump fake left and went right and finished with his right hand. And Detlef got pissed, and he's like, "That's what you got pissed at? I just scored 40 on your head with my offhand, and now you're mad because I went back out." Like,
it's amazing though to be able, like, when you talk shit to people, and to be able to back it up the way that Bird did.
I know.
I mean, you're so good.
Yeah,
because like there's more cases of him talking smack.
Yeah.
And backing it up.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are cases where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go at this guy."
Yeah.
And then that guy showed up and played well.
Right. Yeah.
Not every time he's getting everyone's goat.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. I mean, that guy's people don't understand. Like,
yeah.
That dude was a baller.
And you didn't know at
Top
the time because you didn't have the access to the players at the time. But like, I never knew Larry Bird was a big trash talker until after he retired, and then
I thought he was like a nice guy.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't know, but he was apparently.
All I know is I think about him and Jordan in the McDonald's commercials. You know,
right.
Like, and they're funny and
yeah,
he seems
right.
like a nice
Those
guy.
are great commercials.
Phenomenal. The one where they were doing the shots like off the building.
Yeah, through the window.
Yeah.
There was.
What was the biggest trash talker you played with?
Biggest trash talker that I played with, like on my team,
or against,
any capacity.
Give me a second.
All right, think about that.
Well, here, while you think about that,
the best Larry Bird trash talk though is there's a number of stories about whenever another team would put a white guy on him defensively, he'd be offended by that. Like, this is a consistent story.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "You can't put a white guy on me." He'd get pissed off.
That's hilarious.
It's so funny. Go ahead, Anthony.
I got a couple
Dustin thinks about
orders
this.
of business to take care of real quick.
Yeah.
Once Steve pulls this up, the Guardians game this Friday at 7 p.m. Coverage starts on WKYC right here on Channel 3.
Yeah.
Don't miss it. It's our first Guardians game of the season. The coverage is going to be great.
Yeah.
Now, we have 71 gifted memberships, and I'm doing the math real quick. And Earl's helping me out here. Phil Bowman has sent 20. Sly has sent 30. Then we have a super chat from D4L Josh saying, "Thanks for giving back, Sly." And I just think that's awesome. 71 gifted membership. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you, guys.
That is
Phil
awesome.
Bowman, Sly. Do you have the other names of the other people?
Those are the only ones who gifted memberships. Kristen Story renewed her membership for 18 months. Shout out to Kristen.
Well, shout out to you, Phil. Shout out to Sly. Shout out to Phil. We appreciate everyone who spends 2 hours with us on a daily basis here on UCSS. The overtime stuff gets off the hinges. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's terrible. We understand exactly what the overtime segments are, but for anyone to spend the $4.99 or $5 it costs to hang out with us for a little extra every day, we duly appreciate it. And for the fact that 71 memberships were gifted, and we got the best viewers, best fans in the world.
Speaking of the Guardians, by the way, they are playing it here in a few minutes. Although, is it raining out?
It was when I was coming in.
My phone currently says cloudy.
All right, so I guess it's Guardians.
There's a live look.
Yeah, it looks like it's not raining right now, but there's supposed to be rain on and off today. Lineup for the Guardians.
They're starting a guy I'd never heard of before.
Colby Allard.
Yeah.
He's been in their pen a little bit this year. Well, what's his name? Ciccone got scratched.
I know.
Quan, Martinez, Ramirez, Santana, Arias, Noel, Wilson, Schneeman, and Hedges. No Manzardo. They must be facing a lefty. Yeah, Kershaw. Even though he's hit lefties well. There you go. By the way, for all the talk about the Dodgers lineup, which is amazing on paper, the bottom of their lineup has not been particularly good either, but their first five in their lineup is pretty ridiculous. Ohtani, Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, obviously all excellent players. And then Pajes, Edman, Kike Hernandez, Miguel Rojas. You know, those guys are just okay.
Gotcha.
Although Edman was great for them in the playoffs last year. All right, super chat.
Yeah, last super chat from Wayne Willis. I'm a baseball man, and I'm sick and tired of the Guardians lineup featuring toothpicks. Where's the lumber?
Yeah, well, some of it's in the minors, and some of it's
That's what she said.
A failure of the organization. And that is what she said by the she-shore.
Hey, can I say something too real quick to wrap this show up?
Yeah.
Watching Ohtani in person hit a home run might be like one of my top sports moments from last night. I'm so glad I got to go to the game last night and see him crank out the 21.
Did people cheer?
The whole stadium erupted actually. There was a lot of LA fans there, so I don't know what the division is. But it was just cool to see. Yeah, the whole place went crazy. When he hit
watching superstars in person is fun. Last Guardians game I went to, they played the Yankees. The Guardians won, which was great. But I also got to see Aaron Judge hit a home run. Which
How many home runs
cool.
does Ohtani have right now?
20 as of last night.
Was it 20th?
So
Yeah,
It
he's
was
on.
his 20th. I don't know if he hit a second one. I left in the
No,
seventh.
he did not hit. He's on pace for 60.
Is he gonna
61,
hit
62.
50?
Probably.
Yeah, he's on pace for
I
it.
heard you say 60, but that's absurd.
Well, so is Judge.
Yeah, Judge has 19 right now.
Zach Jackson said they're running 11 on 11 on two fields simultaneously to make sure all the quarterbacks get reps, and that was 30 minutes ago, and now he says simultaneous 7 on 7s, Flacco and Gabriel up first.
Okay.
Again, don't get unless Zach corrects me tomorrow, I'm going to say don't get carried away about the order at this point. It's early.
It's the first day of practice.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Zach has to say. Again, Zach on the show tomorrow.
Vol.
Yeah.
Mason Graham batted a Dylan Gabriel pass at the line of
boy.
scrimmage, ended up in an interception. Already making plays, bro.
Yeah, but what does that say about our quarterback, Dylan Gabriel? Doesn't say good things about him.
Should we cut him tomorrow?
I think we should.
Good.
Remember the Guardians game Friday on WKYC right here on Channel 3?
There it is.
And we'll see you tomorrow, guys.
Well, see you on overtime.
Later.
Yeah, we'll see you on
Ultimate
overtime.
Cleveland Sports Show. See you in a few minutes.